Welcome back to the Maryland Hockey Network. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside nobody today for this ACCHL M2 Premier Finals here from the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Terps and Hokies coming up in about 5 minutes for the Premier Championships. It has been an incredible weekend here broadcasting with the ACCHL. I got to do play-by-play for the ACC on AAU Plus and YouTube for the 6-3 game on Friday night between Wake Forest and Penn State. That was an incredible finish, double overtime. But the story of today, these two teams vying for the title. Maryland, the Cinderella story of the tournament, came in as the 7 seed, taking on the heavily favored UNC Wilmington Seahawks in that Friday game, and that one was the Jack Pharisee show. Shano stopping 59 out of 59 to shut out the Wilmington Seahawks. Luke Mohan, the only man to score a goal against a goaltender in that game, getting one past Dylan Clancy with about 6 minutes left in the second period. Then Brian Teskey and Tommy Pilkington each nailing the empty net to send Maryland into their semifinal game. Virginia Tech, meanwhile, on Friday entered this tournament as the 5 seed. They faced off with number 4 High Point and manhandled the Panthers in the very first game of this weekend, knocking up a 7-2 win over High Point, and just they were all over it in that game. Gavin Peduzzi, one of the best players in the history of the ACC, had a hat trick for the Hokies in that one. And then both of these teams played much tighter contests last night. Maryland, with the 1 seed Rowan on the other side, came up with the comeback overtime upset win thanks to Grant Warner, who nailed one past Bobby Kennedy with about 3 minutes left in OT. And there was a lengthy offside review, as you guys may recall, that left Owen and I up here stressing big time as to whether or not that goal would stand. Ultimately, it did. Tommy Pilkington was able to carry the line, keep his foot on the other side while Grant was going into the offensive zone. And then he had a beautiful far side snipe over the shoulder of Kennedy to send the Terps into this championship game. And then in your nightcap last night, Penn State versus Virginia Tech, the Hokies jumped out to a 4-0 lead over the Ice Lions. Then Penn State started playing a little bit more physical in the second period, mounted a comeback, got it to 4-3 with about 2 minutes left in the third period. Then Gavin Peduzzi hit an empty netter at the length of the ice, all the way from his own red line to ice that one for Virginia Tech and set up this championship matchup. This should be a great one. Both of these teams have clearly been the 2 best teams this tournament weekend, and we've got a fun one in store. Puck drop about 2 minutes away. See you then, Terps fans. We are just about ready to go here in Winston-Salem. They're going to do starting lineups and national anthem, and then we're going to get the puck drop in this national championship. I'll turn it over to public address announcer now. All right, folks, welcome back to the Maryland Hockey Network. First time broadcasting for you from the ACCHL Premier Championships. My name is Andy Parr, providing your play-by-play today. And tonight and this afternoon, we have Terps and Hokies. Hokies entered this tournament as the number 5 seed. The Terps as the number 7. A couple of teams that pulled off first-round upsets and kept the momentum rolling against higher seeds on day number 2. They meet up in this final. Your starting goalies today, it's going to be Tucker Forrest for the Hokies. He had the start against High Point in Virginia Tech's 7-2 win. And for the third straight day, it's going to be Jack Pharisee in net for the Terps. Shano picking up a 59-save shutout over UNC Wilmington on Friday and getting another win against Rowan last night. Terps and Hokies getting ready to go here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex. These two teams both want it bad, and as a reminder, since this is only an audio-exclusive call, if you want to hear one of our members of the team, Owen Korzak, on color commentary, you can go to the WV Video Productions YouTube channel and pull up the feed there, or aauplus.org. But Patrick Harnon getting ready to take this face-off, and we are underway in the championship game. Jack Pharisee goes out of his net to lead this puck for Brian Teske. Teske off the boards, playing it up for Duchesne. Duchesne can't get out the point, and his hip shot right in front. That one going off the stick of Gavin Now, just wide. DeVivo picks it up in the corner for Virginia Tech, but his point pass can't be handled right there, and Hokies are forced back out into center. That one right at Pharisee. He'll hold until Teske gets there. Teske leaves up for Craven. Craven up ahead for Body. He deflects it, so no ice here. Terps working around the offensive zone now. Tommy Pilkington trying to feed a pass in front. Nothing home on that one. Andrew Wallace Sean Amon recollecting in center for the Terps. Can't hold it against Gavin Peduzzi, but that'll be a delayed offside on Virginia Tech. Sean Amon recollects it in his defensive end. Terps trying to push it out of the zone. Look out here. Turnover in front, and a sliding Andrew Wallace blocked that shot coming from Cam Kazai. Grant Warner rings it around the boards. Michael Schreibman there for the Terps. Schreibman trying to poke it out of the defensive zone. He gets it around Brian Rice. Schreibman with a step. He's got Pilkington with him. 2-on-1 developing across. Pilkington can't get the shot off there. Pilkington leaves it behind the Virginia Tech net to Schreibman, who goes back to the point for Grant Warner. Warner sends it in deep again. Pilkington picks it up on the near circle with a shot that whistles wide of Forrest. Eli Petter dumps it in from neutral again. Terps in the middle of a line change. Brian Rice trying to play this around Luke Mohan. Mohan eating him up against the boards. Terps and Hokies still fighting for the puck in Virginia Tech's defensive zone. Luke Mohan pushes it into the corner. First one there is going to be J.H. Logis of Virginia Tech, but Mohan gets it back again. In front, romps with a shot. It's blocked down before it ever got to Forrest. Zach Stewart putting this one into the offensive zone for the Hokies. He's one-on-one against Eli Petter. Petter beats him to that puck. Doherty leaves it for Mohan. Mohan can't carry it out of the defensive zone for now. Eli Petter will use the glass for Romps. James Romps now gets it into neutral with Mohan. Mohan carries the red line, and now he'll go off for a change. Back there to collect it for Virginia Tech is Max Sullivan. Sullivan using the half wall to try and find a teammate. Nobody home except Brian Teske of Maryland. Teske up ahead for Wilson. He can't handle that pass cleanly, and Sullivan has it again for the Hokies. Jack Hudrin stalls up that clearing attempt for the moment. Puck loose in neutral. Blake Warner putting a stick on it. Right back at Tucker Forrest's end of the ice. Virginia Tech trying to clear the zone. Teske with the long shot, though, from the point. That one's going to be gloved down by number 33 in orange. And we finally have a whistle here in Winston-Salem. 17:24 left in the first period. Still no score between Terps and Hokies. Shots on goal, Maryland 2, Virginia Tech 1. Chase Wilson to take this offensive zone draw for Virginia Tech against West Valiant. Wilson wins it into the corner. Blake Warner trying to fish for that puck. Warner and Hudrin both fighting for it on the boards. Hudrin sends it in deep. Nobody home for either team. First one there is going to be Trevor Kellogg of the Hokies. Kellogg can't hold it against Caleb Craven. Caleb Craven takes it behind Forrest. Terps changing up some forward personnel in the middle of all of this. Loose puck in neutral. Blake Warner bats it into his defensive end. Brian Teske there for Maryland, facing some light pressure there from Justin D'Antona. West Valiant pushes that one in front of the net. Travis Duchesne intercepts that pass, and another one dangerously towards Pharisee. Caleb Craven with a blocked shot. Hokies trying to set up an offensive zone possession. Chase Wilson takes D'Antona into the boards. Loose puck behind Pharisee's net. Travis Duchesne skates to it. Duchesne trying to get around one. He does and leaves it for Teske. Teske will clear this through center. Trevor Kellogg catches that bouncing puck and puts it right back in for the Hokies. Jack Pharisee out of his net to leave it for Teske again. Teske off the boards to Craven. Craven, long stretch pass here. He's got Body with him. Body 1-on-2. He'll decide to dump it in. Virginia Tech trying to get a break out of their defensive zone. Patrick Harnan providing pressure for Maryland. Duchesne with the puck now. Can't handle it cleanly. Here come the Hokies. This is Jackson DeVivo. Inside Tulo with a shot, and there's a nice save for Pharisee in tight. He catches it in the breadbasket right at the Maryland crest on his chest. 16:03 left in the first period. Shots on goal now 2 apiece. Terps and Hokies in this championship game. Both of these teams qualified for the playoffs a year ago. Terps going out in round 1 as the 8 seed against number 1 Penn State. And the Hokies made it all the way to the championship game as the 2 seed, where they lost to number 1 Penn State in that final. Michael Schreibman into the offensive zone. He leads for Pilkington with a shot. That one's blocked by Forrest and out of play. Tommy Pilkington had a nice shooting lane from that far circle. Tucker Forrest quick with that blocker to deflect it into the netting. Face-off coming to the right of Tucker Forrest. Gavin Peduzzi wins it for the Hokies, but Maryland picks up possession in the corner. Long shot from Amon. Good. Another save for Tucker Forrest. Terps trying to collect this puck right here. They can, and now here comes Virginia Tech. They might have numbers if they hurry. Sean Amon, though, great defense there to force Peduzzi into the corner. Gavin Peduzzi can't even handle the puck cleanly, and now Maryland's out the other way with Pilkington. Tommy Pilkington 1-on-2. He'll take the shot. That one way high. May have been deflected on its way out by Max Sullivan, it appears. 15:28 remaining in the first period. Still no score here in Winston-Salem. Shots on goal. Maryland 3, Virginia Tech 2. Maryland putting their third line out onto the ice against Virginia Tech's second. Stewart and Mohan at the faceoff dot here. Mohan wins it forward. Virginia Tech trying to play it out of the zone, and they will. It only gets as far as Eli Petter. Petter trying to send it back into the offensive end for Maryland. He can't quite get it around Ewan Andrew on that play. Eli Petter in his own defensive end leaves it on the boards for his partner Rakowskis. Jack Rakowskis back over to Petter once more. Petter up ahead. He's got a teammate. It's Doherty. Doherty finds Romps in center. Romps into the offensive zone from the near circle with a shot. That one's blocked by Sullivan. Rebound. Romps got in tight on Forrest. A nice pad save there. Virginia Tech kind of scrambling in their defensive end. Terps doing a really good job of catching the Hokies in transition early on. Max Sullivan in his defensive zone trying to play it out in center. Chase Wilson picks it off and he'll dump it back into Maryland's offensive end of the ice. Back there to collect it for the Hokies was Murphy McLeod. Maryland with a keeping at the point, though, it's Teske. Teske sends it down low. He was looking for Chase Wilson. It bounces over his stick. Sullivan trying to get it out of the defensive zone for Virginia Tech. Another keep in here by the Terps. In the corner, it's going to be picked up by Murphy McLeod as he's checked there by Blake Warner. Still behind Tucker Forrest. This puck glides. Max Sullivan will pick it up for Virginia Tech. They finally get a breakout pass there, but it only gets as far as center ice. Deflected into the offensive zone by Matthew Tulo. Now Andrew Wallace in his defensive end finds Hudrin. Turnover there for Jackson DeVivo getting in tight. One more pass. That may have been one pass too many as Kellogg has to pick it up in the corner. Now this is DeVivo for the Hokies on the far circle. DeVivo sends it across to Tal Lanigan. Lanigan can't handle it, and the Hokies have to check back up in center. This is Tulo. Tulo, 1-on-2 in the offensive zone for Virginia Tech. Great defense there from Travis Duchesne. Will force him to the outside. This one's sent in deep by Gavin Knapp. Virginia Tech trying to establish the offense. Good defense there from Patrick Harnan to steal the puck for a moment. Harnan with it on his own faceoff dot. He'll send it across to Duchesne. Duchesne trying to split body right there. Body trying to get around Kellogg. Kellogg, great defense for Virginia Tech. But Duchesne with a sneaky shot and a glove save for Tucker Forrest. Body and Kellogg were fighting so hard for that puck. Nobody realized Travis Duchesne was perfectly trailing that play. Good stop from Tucker Forrest right there. Offensive zone draw for the Terps is to Forrest left. Right off the faceoff, Teske wires one wide. Austin Hearn pokes it out of the defensive zone for the Hokies, but Tommy Pilkington dumps it right back in. Virginia Tech trying to get another breakout going here. This is Peduzzi. Peduzzi lets it pass him and go into center with Kazai. Kazai can't handle it. Michael Schreibman into the offensive zone. Schreibman with a shot and a glove save for Forrest there. 12:58 left in the first period. Shots on goal, 6-2 in favor of the Terps over Virginia Tech right now. Another play right there where the Terps caught Virginia Tech in transition. Maryland clearly going into tonight with a good game plan on those neutral zone transitions. Another face-off win here. Teske will shoot it, and a save for Forrest. Pilkington picks up the rebound to the point it's Craven on the far side. Back on the far circle, it's Pilkington. He'll send it around to Schreibman on the near court. Schreibman leaves it down low for Warner. Warner trying to feed in front. Nobody home on that final pass. And Virginia Tech's in center with Jacob Wachtel. Wachtel one-on-one against Craven there. Craven beats him to the puck. He'll play it into the far corner. Tommy Pilkington in his defensive zone sends it into center. Virginia Tech with Ewan Andrews sends it back in deep on a dump and chase. Brian Teske, the first one there. Teske leaves it on the boards to Romps. James Romps, long pass there, gets it into neutral, but only gets as far as Dhruv Takare. Dhruv Takare, though, loses the puck to Caleb Craven. Craven will punch it into Maryland's offensive zone for a moment. Virginia Tech going skate to stick here, can't handle it cleanly yet again. Eli Petter looking for a stretch pass there. Luke Mohan got a chunk of it, but not cleanly. Mohan chases it into the offensive zone there against Murphy McLeod. Virginia Tech able to clear it into center again. Jack Rakowskis there for the Terps. He'll pump it right back at Tucker Forrest. Forrest will stick that one aside and leave for McLeod. McLeod's pass is a little bit offline. Virginia Tech getting away with it, though. Here comes Justin D'Antona. D'Antona, a long-range shot, stick save there for Pharisee. West Valiant behind the net for Daytona. D'Antona can't handle that puck. Eli Petter off the boards for Doherty. Doherty a long play here. This will turn into an icing on the Terps as the first one back there is Tal Lanigan of the Hokies. 11:28 left here in the first period. Still 0-0 between Hokies and Terps in this championship game. Shots on goal 7-3 in favor of Maryland. As a reminder, if you would like video for this broadcast, please go to the WV Video Productions YouTube channel. Offensive zone faceoff win for Virginia Tech, and a sliding block there for Luke Mohan off a point shot from Trevor Kellogg. Mohan picks up that loose puck, and he gets Romps to push it into center. Delayed offside here on Virginia Tech, washed out as Eli Petter picks it up in his defensive end. Petter up ahead has Doherty deflect that one forward. Trevor Kellogg catches a chunk of it, and that'll wipe out a Maryland icing. Kellogg up ahead, 2-0 one-touch pass, nobody home there. Sean Amon dumps it right back into the offensive zone for the Terps. Jack Hudrin with a keep in on the far circle. Hudrin down low, he's looking for Wilson. First one there is J.H. Laugus. Laugus, a couple of spin moves, and he'll find a teammate there with Tulo. Tulo has it explode off his stick, though. Andrew Wallace picks it up for Maryland. That pass a little bit offline. Blake Warner there to recover for a moment. Long-range shot just wide there from Gavin Now. Andrew Wallace trying to get out of the defensive zone. There's a stick on the ice. Blake Warner has it behind Pharisee's net. Warner will play it off the glass into center. That one's touched by Brian Rice, again wiping out a potential Maryland icing. Max Sullivan, a long stretch pass there, is read by Duchesne. Duchesne will leave it in the defensive end for Craven. Off the boards to Amon. Sean Amon plays it off the half wall, and again, Virginia Tech resets in center. This is Sullivan dumping it into the offensive zone for the Hokies. Pharisee goes out of his net to leave it for Sean Amon. Amon facing some pressure from Hearn. He quickly plays it for Duchesne. Duchesne sends it back into center, slowly rolling right at Tucker Forrest. That'll be another wiped out icing there. Caleb Craven intercepts that pass in center. Craven dumping it back into Maryland's offensive zone. Behind the Virginia Tech net, James Body has it for Harden, a wrap attempt. He hit the iron right there. Cam Kazai collecting that loose puck for Virginia Tech. A big scare for the Hokies on that one. Kazai on the near circle. Kazai trying to get around Brian Teske. Teske and forcing him onto the far boards. Long-range shot here from the point is blocked by Travis Duchesne. That one coming off the stick of Tal Lanigan. And Maryland gets another defensive zone clear as they'll switch up forward personnel. Virginia Tech dumps it in from neutral right at Pharisee. Eli Petter picks up that rebound and leaves to Rakauskas. Rakauskas off the boards looking for Schreibman. It's intercepted by Stewart. Zach Stewart can't get it around Grant Warner here once. One more chance as it's coming in tight on Pharisee. He never saw that puck. That one was blocked down by Schreibman, and now he'll try and outskate an icing. He loses that foot race to Trevor Kellogg, and this will go all the way back to Maryland's end of the ice. A great shot block there by the Terps. Jack Pharisee appeared to be a little bit out of position, and in tight looking for a shot was Jacob Wachtel of the Hokies. Virginia Tech tightening up your shots on goal gap. It's now 7-4 in favor of Maryland. Offensive zone draw win for the Hokies. Brian Rice trying to send it in deep. Michael Schreibman in the way there, and he'll play it back into center. Virginia Tech in their defensive zone looking for a breakout here with Zach Stewart. Stewart tips it in one-on-one against Petter. Two of them go into each other with the boards. At the point, that's J.H. Laugus. Long-range shot from the circle. That one whistles wide for Virginia Tech. Brian Rice on this near side will play it down low. One more in front. They were looking for Ewan Andrew. He was out of position to receive that pass, and Virginia Tech goes back into center. Delayed offside here. Now washed out as Eli Petter carries it through neutral. J.H. Laugus gets around Romps. Laugus in his defensive zone has that pass interrupted for a moment by Doherty, but now here comes Virginia Tech again. This is Ewan Andrew. Andrew off the boards. Andrew Wallace there for Maryland. Trying to play it off the glass. Ewan Andrew with a keep in for Virginia Tech. Down low, Andrew Wallace and Justin Daytona fighting for that puck. West Valiant gets there as the two of them go into each other. Long-range shot from the point. Ends up in the corner. Andrew Wallace trying to play it out for the Terps. He can't. West Valiant with the keep in. He'll take the shot from the circle and saved by Pharisee. Rebound trying to be swept out by the Terps. Max Sullivan keeps it in at the near side again. Sean Amon picking up that puck behind Maryland's net. West Valiant with a takeaway down low. Virginia Tech getting the offense rolling here. Hokies looking for a passing lane, anything that they can try and find open as Sean Amon takes down Justin Daytona there, no call. Colin Doherty working with James Romps as he needs a change. Doherty will apply the forecheck here. Chase Wilson, a large hit on the boards right there. Brian Teske collecting it at his own blue line, leaves to Craven. Caleb Craven finds Jack Hudrin. Hudrin will dump it into the offensive zone for Maryland. Blake Warner can't handle that puck cleanly. Off the boards, Virginia Tech will pick it up. This is Tulo. Tulo up ahead. He was looking for a pass with now. He was not able to catch it. Craven leaves back for Pharisee dangerously, and Pharisee says, "Why'd you do that?" and gives it right back to Caleb Craven. Jack Hudrin pushes it into neutral again. Virginia Tech will try to keep on the pressure as Tal Lanigan dumps it into the offensive zone for the Hokies. Blake Warner around the boards. It's stuck up there for a moment. Brian Teske finally able to corral it. Leaves for Craven. Up ahead, 100. Finds Blake Warner. Warner over the red line. He'll dump it in as Patrick Harnon fresh on the ice into the offensive zone. Blake Warner, another hit there on Tal Lanigan. Travis Duchesne trying to keep it in the offensive zone. He can't for a moment. Eli Petter forced to dump it in from center. Maryland trying to get their full first line onto the ice, and now they will as James Body steps out. Terps and Hokies fighting for a loose puck in neutral. Ends up with Tal Lanigan of Virginia Tech. He'll shoot it right at Pharisee from the red line. Jack Rukowskis picks up that rebound. Rukowskis off the boards. Peduzzi a takeaway, and he whistles that one wide. Brian Rice, a shot from the circle. That one well wide of Pharisee. At the opposite side, J.H. Lagas with a keep in for Virginia Tech. Behind the net, this is Kazai for the Hokies being pressured by Rukowskis. A shot from the corner. Gavin Peduzzi, another save for Jack Pharisee. Brian Rice, another shot that goes wide of Pharisee's cage. Travis Duchesne trying to collect it on the boards. He leaves to Harnon. Harnon will clear this from his defensive zone. He's got Body in center. Body one-on-one against Lagas. Body coming in, looking for a backhand opportunity. He can't get there. Great defense from Lagas and Brian Rice. James Body still within the offensive zone. He sends it towards the net. Nobody home there. Brian Rice with the takeaway. But Michael Schreibman keeps it in for Maryland, and that shot whistles high over Forrest. Austin Hearn picks it up off the boards. Another keep in here for the Terps. Tommy Pilkington against J.H. Lagas in the corner. Lagas beats him to that puck. Another pass that's tipped by Grant Warner. Virginia Tech has it in center now. Austin Hearn on the near circle. A sharp angle shot and a save by Pharisee. And we finally have another whistle here. We'll take immediate timeout here on the Maryland Hockey Network. Be back in about 90 seconds. All right, folks, if you heard that horn in arena, that means it's the end of the media timeout. We're back here on the Maryland Hockey Network. Still no score at the end of this first period between Maryland and Virginia Tech. Shots on goal, 7-6 in favor of the Terps with 4:54 left in this opening frame. Offensive zone draw for Virginia Tech about to come to Jack Pharisee's right. Grant Warner will take it for the Terps against Gavin Now of Virginia Tech. Face-off is won by Now at the point. This is Drew Takare. Takare creeping in on the circle with a shot. That one's blocked wide by Schreibman. Held in at the point by Virginia Tech. That shot goes wide. Another keep in for Takare. He'll send it back towards Pharisee. He can't get it on goal. Murphy McLeod in the corner. Sends it towards Pharisee. Rebound for Tulo. Another save for Pharisee. He had a couple in tight right there. And Tommy Pilkington will sweep that rebound out of harm's way. Tommy Pilkington one-on-one against Takare as they both go into the boards behind Tucker Forrest. They're both on the ice here. It's held in by Sean Amon for the moment. But it's going to be a hold on Tommy Pilkington, and Maryland's going shorthanded here with 4:23 left in the first period. Virginia Tech's power play has been absolutely lethal in these ACC playoffs. Struck 3 times against High Point and then another last night against Penn State. Look out especially for number 12 in orange, Gavin Peduzzi. He is an electric player on this Hokie power play. Long-range shot from Brian Rice is blocked down in front in the corner. It's picked up by Cam Kazai. Back up to the point with Rice. Over to Kazai on the far circle inside. Peduzzi with a shot and a stick save for Jack Pharisee. Hokies hold it in for the moment with J.H. Lagas. Austin Hearn plays catch with Lagas on this near circle. Back below the net, it's Hearn. Hearn looking for a passing lane. He's got Kazai on the far circle. Kazai moving up to the point, now creeping back to the circle. We'll play it down low to Lagas. Hearn. Back up for Kazai. Kazai to the point with Rice. Rice will take the shot and a kick save for Pharisee. Rebound is going to be kept in again by the Hokies. Gavin Peduzzi has it. Peduzzi on the far circle. He'll rip one. It gets blocked down in front by Sean Amon. Terps scrambling on this penalty kill. Virginia Tech operating their power play with high efficiency. On the near circle, it's Hearn. To the point blast. Rice goes wide. Kazai feeding it in front, and a shot by Peduzzi who's blocked. Rebound still loose, and it's jammed wide by Austin Hearn. Peduzzi on his, that was Pharisee on his back. He can't stand up, and we have a whistle here. Not 100% sure what that was for. Maybe the net came off when Pharisee fell over. Still waiting to see what's going on here. 53 more seconds of penalty kill time for the Terps with 3:16 left in the first period. Seems like they were checking in on Pharisee's goal. Everything seems to be in order now. Terps get a much-needed line change with that whistle. Maryland never exited the defensive zone for that first chunk of the power play. Hokies getting right back to work here after a face-off win. Long shot there from McLeod goes high. Pharisee quick to that rebound off the boards. He jumps on top of it. Only 7 seconds tick off the clock there. Maryland will change out their personnel once more. Forwards will be James Romps and Colin Doherty. Defensemen Brian Teskey and Caleb Craven. It's going to be Romps versus Now at the face-off dot here. Officials waiting on this face-off. Missed draw signaled. Will get reset. Face-off is won into the corner by Virginia Tech yet again. This is Tulo on the near circle. Tulo wrapping around the Maryland net. He's looking for a pass. It's intercepted by Caleb Craven, and he'll ice it down the ice. That'll finally kill some time off this penalty kill for Maryland. They were scrambling for the first chunk of that power play. Just 30 seconds left on the minor to Tommy Pilkington. Virginia Tech back into the offensive zone here. This is Tulo behind Maryland's cage. Leaves it on the boards for Now. Now on the near circle. Up to the point, it's McLeod. McLeod leaves to Now on the near circle again. He'll shoot it. That one's blocked wide by Teskey. Colin Doherty finds that loose puck, trying to play it off the glass. Not enough power on that one. Tommy Pilkington stepping out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5. Virginia Tech still dangerous here in front. Tulo looking for that rebound opportunity, and Pharisee squeezes it up. Jack Pharisee, common saying in hockey is your best penalty killer is often your netminder on that power play opportunity. That was definitely the case for Shano, number 32 in black, coming up with 3 stops on that Hokie man advantage. 2:17 left in the first period. Another defensive zone draw for Maryland. Grant Warner to take it against Zach Stewart. Off the tie-up, Maryland looking for possession, and they've got it with Tommy Pilkington. Pilkington leaves to Schreibman in neutral. Schreibman into the offensive zone for Maryland. Schreibman a backhand from the near circle. That one's kicked aside by Forrest. Maryland trying to keep possession. Zach Stewart trying to force it out. Grant Warner with the takeaway on the far side. Warner coming in, and a glove save there for Forrest, but he couldn't hold it, and now Virginia Tech's forced to play it in neutral. Ewan Andrew into the offensive zone for the Hokies. He's pressured there by Wallace. Andrew Wallace around the boards. First one there is Zach Stewart of Virginia Tech to the point for Lagas. J.H. Lagas behind the net to Ewan Andrew. Andrew can't handle it cleanly, and Sean Amon plays it back into center. Back there for the Hokies, it's Lagas again. His pass is deflected by a couple of Terp sticks and ends up with Sean Amon in the defensive zone for Maryland. Aiming up ahead, has Pilkington deflected in. Harnan on the far circle. Harnan trying to get around Rice. He can't do it right there. And now Ewan Andrew with a takeaway for Virginia Tech. My apologies, that's Cam Kazai. Kazai trying to get around Craven with a backhand and a save for Pharisee. He covers up his rebound. 1:12 left in the first period. Hokies have definitely upped the ante with their offensive zone pressure since that power play ended. A nice stop there for Jack Pharisee on that backhander from Cam Kazai. Defensive zone draw again for the Terps. Harnan against Peduzzi at the dot. Maryland wins it into the corner. Caleb Craven plays it into neutral. That one is bounced a little bit by Dhruv Takare, and he'll go all the way back to his defensive zone. Takare, a long stretch pass. Brian Teskey back there for the Terps. Icing is waved off. Teskey around the boards for Duchesne. One touch back into neutral as it bounces into the Maryland bench, and we'll get another whistle. Just 53 seconds remaining in this opening frame. Still no score between Terps and Hokies in this ACCHL M2 Premier Championship. Patrick Harnan and Gavin Peduzzi tie up that face-off. It ends up in Maryland's defensive zone where Caleb Craven collects it in front of his goaltender. Craven up ahead for Harnan. Harnan trying to leave it across for Body. James Body right at the blue line will leave to Duchesne in neutral. Duchesne dumps it in, but Gavin Peduzzi back there for Virginia Tech. Peduzzi, a long stretch pass there. He was looking for Austin Hearn, but this will turn into icing on the Hokies as Hearn couldn't get to that puck, and Sean Amon won the foot race. 30 seconds remain in the opening frame. Offensive zone draw upcoming for Maryland. They'll put their kid line out onto the ice. Tommy Pilkington, Grant Warner, and Michael Schreidman have been so effective this season for Maryland, a bunch of youngsters with high production. Face off to the left of Tucker Forrest. Grant Warner will go up against Gavin Peduzzi at the dot. Warner with the face-off win. Right off the draw, Wallace with a shot that's blocked down in front. Austin Hearn trying to collect it in the corner for Virginia Tech. Penalty upcoming against Maryland. Tommy Pilkington with a heavy hit in the corner. They must think it was a board as Wallace touches up in center. For the second time today, Tommy Pilkington is headed to the penalty box. 17 seconds remaining in this opening frame. We'll wait for the official call in arena. Officials discussing. Tommy Pilkington already seated in the box. Maryland getting their penalty killers out onto the ice. They've chosen Harnan, Duchesne, Craven, and Teskey to start. Virginia Tech's power play with a lot of opportunities on the first time, but the Terps ultimately getting the kill a few minutes ago. Official call coming in. It's a 5-minute major for boarding, and the officials are going to review it to see if they want to confirm. Yesterday in Maryland's game against Rowan, we saw the profs get called for 5 minutes for a check to the head that was ultimately overturned after video review, a call that we up here did not agree with. So definitely not out of the realm of possibility for them to either take this penalty off the board entirely or reduce it to just a 2-minute minor. Officials now have the headsets on by the Zamboni doors. They're looking at their replay tablet. Tommy Pilkington took a quick chat with Travis Duchesne in the penalty box right there. Pilkington definitely did not think that was worthy of a 5-minute penalty. Real time, I thought it was just a heavy hit on the boards. And we'll see what happens here. Officials still looking at it closely. I don't have a replay up at the moment. I'm trying to get one going for you guys so that I can give my analysis on a second look. It's a 5-minute major. That would be a tough situation for the Terps. It'll turn into an all-you-can-eat power play against this potent Hokie offense that already had so many looks on their first 2-minute opportunity. Officials still with the headsets on, taking a very long look at this play by Tommy Pilkington. As a reminder, this is an audio-only call by the Maryland Hockey Network. If you would like visuals, please go to the WV Video Productions YouTube channel or aauplus.org to pull up their video feed, and then you can sync it with my audio, if you would still like to hear the Maryland Hockey Network broadcast for this ACCHL M2 Premier Championship game. Officials taking off their headsets now. They've come to their decision. Going over to the penalty box to inform the scorekeeper desk. Maryland's reaction seems positive, and they decide no penalty at all. Tommy Pilkington being released from the box. It will not have to be a kill situation for the Terps. Like I said, real time, I thought it was just a heavy hit by number 23 in black. Did not seem aggressive or intent to injure by any means, just going hard after a player with the puck, and it ended up being near the boards. Officials taking the board penalty off the board entirely, now talking with the Virginia Tech coaches, giving them their explanation. This faceoff will still be in Maryland's defensive zone, I believe.
Now you know who you gotta win it for.
Or sorry. James Body now going into the box in the 5 minutes, still on the board, so maybe Tommy Pilkington was ejected from the game entirely. That would be a tough, tough blow if that's the case for the Terps. Waiting for the in-arena announcement. They just said James Body is in the penalty box as Maryland's trying to kill off the rest of this period. Travis Duchesne pokes it into center. Murphy McLeod has run out of time. But after it seemed like they took the penalty off the board entirely, it now seems like Tommy Pilkington was given an ejection for his hit. And James Body will have to serve the rest of this penalty, 4:43 of it, as we start period number 2. But after one, it is 0-0 between the Terps and Hokies here in Winston-Salem. I'll be back in a few for your first intermission report. Welcome back for this intermission report here on the Maryland Hockey Network. My name is Andy Parr, coming to you from the first intermission here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex for this ACCHL championship game between the Maryland Terrapins and the Virginia Tech Hokies. And I just got confirmation that, unfortunately, yes, Tommy Pilkington was ejected for a check to the head just now. 5-minute major for boarding plus an ejection on top of it. So the Terps will be without one of their top scorers, number 23, Tommy Pilkington, for the rest of this game. Like I said, real time, I thought that it was a clean hit in the corner, a really heavy one, no doubt, but it was on the boards. So I guess officials saw a replay and went with their decision on the ice. Maryland going to have to kill off the next 4:43 of an all-you-can-eat power play for Virginia Tech on top of Tommy Pilkington missing the rest of the game. They're going to have to shuffle around some forward lines. You might see Cam Horan slotting into the lineup a lot more. He was Maryland's extra skater on their roster today. Now, since they're missing a forward, he's probably going to get a lot more ice time for the rest of this game. Maybe not playing with Warner and Schreibman on that second line. They're probably going to do a little bit more shuffling around that. But expect Cam Horan to get a lot more ice time down the stretch. Your shots on goal at this first intermission, 10-9 in favor of Virginia Tech. Terps with a lot of really good zone time early in this period. They were handling the play, catching Virginia Tech in transition, pushing all the right buttons, getting a lot of shots in on Tucker Forrest. But then at that media timeout, Virginia Tech used that to gather their troops, adjust the game plan, and they really started to turn the tables on Maryland there. They were starting to catch the Terps in transition. They picked up on Maryland's patterns with the defensive zone passing, playing it off the boards, and they started to read those plays, intercept those passes, and create offensive zone chances. Like I said, Maryland will still be on the penalty kill for another 4:43 to start period number 2, and if Virginia Tech scores, that's not the end of that power play. It is an all-you-can-eat power play for these Hokies. And as I said before as well, Virginia Tech's power play has been absolutely lethal in this playoff tournament this weekend. 3 tallies against High Point in the opening game Friday afternoon. Last night against Penn State, they added another one. This Virginia Tech power play is not something you want to mess with. If you're Maryland, you have to stay out of the box the rest of the way this game. But if Maryland can go back to what they were doing at the beginning of that first period, catch those Hokies in transition, use your defensemen to set up offensive zone opportunities. Brian Teske played a great first period, shooting the puck, keeping it in. Sean Amon as well, doing a lot of keep-ins at the blue line and keeping the pucks in deep to set up the forwards and let them run the offense from down there. If Maryland can continue that game plan, the opportunities will continue to come for this Terrapin squad. We'll be back for the second period of play in about 7 minutes here from Winston-Salem. I'm Andy Parr. Welcome back to the ACCHL M2 Premier Championships on the Maryland Hockey Network. My name is Andy Parr, providing your play-by-play commentary today. And folks, as we enter this second period of play, it's still 0-0 between the number 5 Hokies and the number 7 Terps. But Maryland on the penalty kill for another 4:43 due to a 5-minute major and ejection called against Tommy Pilkington at the very end of the first period. Head coach Joe Carter very upset with the call, and based on replays that I watched during intermission, I agree. It seemed like there was nothing Pilkington could really do, but they go with the official's decision. It was a check to the head was the call, 5 minutes and an ejection. Terps on the kill for another 4:43, and Joe Carter also telling me that Cam Horan will just slot into Pilkington's spot on the second line. He doesn't want to mess with chemistry. I thought he might move up someone like Colin Doherty to play with Warner and Schreibman and then keep Cam Horan on the third. But Terps will go in with their game plan. Virginia Tech underway here for the second period. Virginia Tech won that opening faceoff in neutral. J.H. Lagas, behind his own net, plays it off the boards to Rice. Brian Rice, long stretch pass there. He's got Gavin Peduzzi, one touch for Lagas. Lagas, drop past Peduzzi at the point. Peduzzi across. Rice can't handle it cleanly, but he's able to hold the blue. Rice sending it down low. Back there is Hearn for Virginia Tech. Cam Kazai at the circle. Back up for Peduzzi. Peduzzi at the near point. Down to the circle for Kazai. Shot from Rice at the point. That one goes high. Rebound off the boards. Pharisee scrambling for a wrap attempt. No goal. Rebound score. Gavin Peduzzi breaks the ice here in Winston-Salem. And Virginia Tech still going to be operating on the power play for another 4:03 due to that penalty call against Tommy Pilkington. Against this Hokie squad all weekend, the key has been stay out of the box. Terps unable to do that. In the first period, there was one minor call against Tommy Pilkington for holding. Virginia Tech had a lot of chances. The Terps were able to escape. This time on the 5-minute major, it takes less than a minute for Virginia Tech to strike. Virginia Tech still on the power play for another 4 minutes here. Sean Amon with a takeaway in neutral. He'll send it down the ice towards Tucker Forrest. Sends it to the crease. Turnover in front. Rumps. Score! James Rumps! Terps get it right back with a shorthanded snipe. James Rumps getting ovations from this Maryland faithful in Winston-Salem. Right after, oh my goodness, right after Gavin Peduzzi puts Virginia Tech up 1-0 on the power play, James Rumps, a shorthanded strike off the turnover right in front of Tucker Forrest. We're tied up at 1. It only took 58 seconds for there to be 2 goals in this middle 20. Another turnover here for Rumps in front. He's trying to feed it to Doherty. He can't quite get it there. Rakowskis with the keep in to kill more time as he hits the iron right there. Terps are buzzing on this penalty kill right now. Brian Rice into the offensive zone for Virginia Tech. He can't handle it cleanly. Sean Amon tries to clear it off the glass. Virginia Tech thought they kept it in, but it's whistled down for an offside with 18:37 left in the period. 3:20 to go on the major to Pilkington. Beautiful shorthanded goal for James Rumps to tie it up right after the Hokies opened the scoring. Gavin Peduzzi wins the faceoff back for Rice. Rice will ring it around the boards. Pharisee goes out of his net to leave it for Craven. Craven sends it around. Lagas can't handle it, and now there's a foot race. Harnan trying to chase it down. He's going to get there first, but Brian Rice also back there for the Hokies. Harnan able to kill an extra couple of seconds off the clock there. Austin Hearn has that pass caught up in his skates. He'll backhand it for Peduzzi into the offensive zone. Peduzzi, drop pass. Hearn the shot. That goes wide. Rebound. Peduzzi jams it wide. At the circle, Virginia Tech still dangerous. Behind the net, this is Peduzzi. Up for Lagas. Back down to Peduzzi. Peduzzi looking for something inside. He keeps it behind the net. Peduzzi backhands up to the point for Rice. Rice on the near point. Leaves on the circle to Peduzzi. Peduzzi down below the net for Kazai. He's circling back up to the near circle. Peduzzi, a shot for the slot. Save Pharisee, and Duchesne clears that rebound. A great sliding stop for number 32 in black, and Travis Duchesne sends the rebound down the ice. Still 2:22 left on the major to Pilkington. Hokies trying to reset the power play here with their second unit on the ice. This is Gavin Now. Now on the far side. Now looking for a passing lane. He'll go to the point. Now this is McLeod. Murphy McLeod across now on the far circle. He couldn't handle it cleanly. Chooses Takare at the far point. Takare will take the shot. It never got all the way to Pharisee. Pharisee, though, sees that loose puck sitting in front of the crease. Will take no chances and hop on top of it. 17-15 remaining in the second period. 1:58 left on the penalty to Tommy Pilkington. James Romps with a face-off win in the defensive zone. Sean Amon will be able to clear it into neutral and force Virginia Tech to check up once more. Colin Doherty, some good penalty killing there to force Virginia Tech all the way back to their defensive end. Murphy McLeod finds Gavin now. Now cruising in neutral. Now into the offensive zone, leaves at the point for Takare. Takare will take the long shot, and it's gloved down by Pharisee. He'll squeeze. Shots on goal currently 14-10 in favor of the Hokies, but where it matters most, we're tied one apiece. 16:50 remaining in period number 2. 1:33 left in the 5-minute major. Peduzzi and Harnan getting set at the face-off dot. Peduzzi wins it into the corner. Kazai picks it up. Kazai up to the point for Lagas. He can't handle it cleanly, and Duchesne pushes it into center, and it's going to roll all the way back to Tucker Forrest yet again. Brian Rice has to pick it up. Rice leaves to Lagas. J.H. Lagas has that one kind of bounce off his stick weirdly to Peduzzi, and Duchesne will clear it back into Maryland's offensive zone for more time off this penalty. Gavin Peduzzi motoring through center. He's into the offensive zone for Virginia Tech. Defended well by Caleb Craven, and he'll send it back down the ice again. Tucker Forrest skates out of his crease to play that one for Lagas. J.H. Lagas, the ACC's Defenseman of the Year, plays it up ahead for a teammate. That's Cam Kazai. Kazai drop past Peduzzi, one more Rice. Rice, circle, a shot there is blocked by Teskey. That one coming from Lagas. Rice from the point, that one goes wide. The rebound still loose in front. One more, a sliding block by Caleb Craven to force that shot high. Gavin Peduzzi still with it in the corner at the point. Brian Rice looking for a lane. Kazai, what a stop by Pharisee. The rebound still loose. Peduzzi has it blocked in front. Terps trying to clear it in. They will. What a sequence there. Pharisee with an incredible stop, and Caleb Craven doing the rest of the work to get it out. Lagas across, one more pass. That was one pass too many. Terps interrupt it, force it back into center. Just 15 seconds left on the major. Hokies trying to establish time in the offensive zone. That one rolls right to Pharisee. He'll jump on top of it. 15:26 left in the second period. 9 seconds remaining on the 5-minute major. Terps in scramble mode in front of their netminder. Hokies cannot capitalize. 9 more seconds on this kill. Face-off coming to the left of Pharisee. Won by Grant Warner into the corner. Andrew Wallace will pick this up off the boards. Wallace trying to get out of the zone. And Cam Horan will finish the job as James Body steps onto the ice. We're back to 5-on-5. What a kill by the Terps there. Only allow 1 goal on the 5-minute major, and they pick up 1 themselves. In their defensive zone, Terps are trying to play it out. It's held in by Zach Stewart for the moment. James Body kicks it forward into neutral, though, and Maryland's got it in center. James Body without his stick, using his feet to play it into the offensive zone. Back there is Tal Lanigan of the Hokies. Lanigan's clearing attempt is touched by Andrew Wallace, so this will not be icing against Virginia Tech. Rakowskis back to play it. Jack Rakowskis on the boards, getting a lot of pressure there from Wachtel. Wachtel will send it down low. Nobody home on his pass. Andrew Wallace there first for the Terps. Wallace can't quite get out of the zone. Rakowskis with an intercept, though, and now Horan has it in center. Horan will chip this one in. Right at Tucker Forrest. He'll glove it and hold. 14:26 remaining in the second period. 1 apiece between Terps and Hokies. Shots on goal 16-10 in favor of Virginia Tech. Upcoming face-off will be to the left of Tucker Forrest. Luke Mohan going up to the dot here for Maryland. Mohan wins it, back for Rakowskis. Rakowskis trying to send it down low along the boards. Max Sullivan there for the Hokies. Sullivan's clearing attempt bounces off of Romps and out of play. We're going to reset again. Only a few seconds tick off the clock there. As a reminder to those of you who are fresh on this stream, this is an audio-only call on the Maryland Hockey Network. If you want to sync up with video, go to the WV Video Productions YouTube channel and sync my audio with their feed. Defensive zone draw is won by West Valiant. Now Sullivan up ahead looking for a passing lane. Virginia Tech going with a breakout here. Valiant's got in center. Valiant right at Pharisee. He takes it off his blocker and will cover with his glove. 14:07 left in period number 2. A much slower pace of play since the Terps got that penalty kill. Against a power play like Virginia Tech's, only allowing 1 goal on a 5-minute major and scoring 1 yourself. That is a massive win for the Terps. Both 12s getting set at the faceoff dot here. It's Peduzzi and Mohan. Gavin Peduzzi with the faceoff win, but Mohan gets around him. 3-on-1 developing for the Terps if they hurry. Doherty coming in, across for Romps. He couldn't handle it cleanly. In the corner, Mohan plays it back up to the point for Craven. Craven inside Romps, kicking it forward to Mohan. Mohan looking for that puck. Romps has it behind the Virginia Tech net. Romps getting some pressure there from J.H. Lagas. Lagas will kick it around the boards, and Virginia Tech pushes it back into center. Loose puck as everybody's falling down on the far side of the ice. Brian Teskey's able to pick it up. Teskey across to Craven. Craven, long stretch pass there, bounces off a couple of sticks. Doherty was trying to collect it. He couldn't for Maryland. Virginia Tech's out the other way. This is Kellogg. Kellogg a long shot. That goes wide at Pharisee. Caleb Craven trying to pick it up in the boards for Maryland. Can't do it cleanly. Austin Hearn there for the Hokies. Hearn kicks it out to Kazai in front. Peduzzi! And a great stop in tight by Pharisee. Gavin Peduzzi robbed by Jack Pharisee in the slot right there. I'll tell you what, you don't want to give number 12 in orange too many chances like that. One of the greatest players in ACC history and Virginia Tech's all-time leading point scorer. But Pharisee got the better of him on that one. Face-off won by the Hokies. Kellogg with a shot. That one goes wide. Virginia Tech trying to establish themselves still in the offensive zone behind the net. This is picked up by Now. Now to the point. Long-range shot deflected wide. Good late tip there from Matthew Tulo, just missing. Tulo around the boards. Wallace picks it up for the Terps. Wallace up ahead. Finds Hudrin. Hudrin trying to feed Warner. That pass deflected off a Hokie, but Warner gets it back. Hudrin into the offensive zone on the far side. Hudrin will take the shot. That one's blocked by Lanigan. Takes a couple of weird bounces and ends up back in Hokie possession. This is Jackson DeVivo for the Hokies. Drop pass there for Now. Off the boards. That was a dangerous rebound. Matthew Tulo was waiting on the doorstep. He goes into the boards with Hudrin. Now Maryland's out the other way. This is Harnan. Patrick Harnan trying to cut inside with Duchesne. The two of them all crash into the net there as the coasts pop off behind Tucker Forrest. We'll get a whistle here. 12:22 left in the second period. Shots on goal 18-11 in favor of the Hokies. 1 apiece on the scoreboard. Maryland getting their full first line onto the ice. Harnan, Body, and Duchesne. Harnan at the face-off dot against Now. Harnan will kick it back to the point for Petter. Petter down low to Duchesne. Duchesne trying to feed one across. Nobody home on that pass. Matthew Tulo takes it for the Hokies. Tulo into the offensive zone for Virginia Tech. It's behind Pharisee's net around the boards. Hokies trying to pick it up. They can't. Harnan trying to push it over the blue line, but he can't do that either. Pharisee will stick that one into the corner. Rakowskis there for the Terps. Rakowskis fighting for this puck against Stewart. Rakowskis kicks it forward. Body trying to get it over the blue line. It's loose on the far side. Duchesne will get there first, back in neutral. James Body deflecting it into the offensive zone for Maryland. Terps in the middle of a line change. They only got Grant Warner out onto the ice there, but this will be an icing on the Hokies and allow them to finish the change and force Virginia Tech to keep a tired 5 skaters on the ice. .11:42 left here in the second period. Still 1-1 between Terps and Hokies. Both goals of this game coming in the opening minute of this frame. Misdraw signaled by the linesman. We'll get reset here. Now wins it, Zach Stewart wins it for the Hokies. Around the boards, Virginia Tech clears it again, and this is back-to-back icings on VT. Apologies for the delays in my commentary. I'm trying to adjust a couple of wires at the moment to get my laptop plugged back in. OBS does put a bit of a strain on these batteries. I need to make sure I'm plugged in at all times. I had to move a few things around. Face-off here is won by the Terps in the offensive zone. Brian Teskey at the far point. He'll send it down low. Behind the net, Hokies trying to clear it out. Caleb Craven with a keep-in for the moment. Schreidman was looking for a loose puck. Ewan Andrew with a friendly stick right there. Held it again by Cam Horan. He's trying to send it down low. Sullivan there for the Hokies. Sullivan facing pressure. That pass is read by Teskey. But now it's in center for Horan. Horan dumping this right back at Forrest's end of the ice. Behind the net, this is Sullivan for the Hokies. He'll play it off the glass into center. Grant Warner trying to collect it for the Terps. Warner picks it up in neutral. Warner off the half wall. Was looking for Schreibman there. It bounces over his stick, and now Murphy McLeod with it for the Hokies. He'll send it right at Pharisee, who blockers it into the corner for Wallace. Wallace, stretch pass there. He finds Horan. Horan into the offensive end. Forrest goes out of his crease to leave it for Rice. Brian Rice slowing things down for the Hokies, looking for a breakout play. That pass is way offline, and Andrew Wallace will collect it for the Terps. Wallace, though, can't clear it out of his defensive zone. Virginia Tech trying to get the offense going here. Long shot there. Save Pharisee. Rebound was sitting in the corner, and now it'll be collected by Mohan. Mohan leaves it on the boards for Wallace. Wallace is trying to play it around. It's intercepted by Valiant. James Roms with it, though. He's got a teammate there. It's Doherty. Doherty skating it through neutral. Doherty on the far circle. He gets around one. Trying to get around Logus as he roofs that backhand high. Sean Amon, a long shot there, gets deflected by a couple of Hokies into the netting. 10:06 left in the second period. We're going to take our media timeout here in Winston-Salem. I'll be back in about 90 seconds. Welcome back to the ACCHL M2 Premier Championships here from the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. My name is Andy Parr here for the Maryland Hockey Network today. Terps with an offensive zone draw upcoming to the right of Tucker Forest here. Hokies win it. They're going to send it immediately down the ice. J.H. Logus plays it nice and slow. Teskey will be forced to play it. No ice. Teskey, though, misses his intended target of Grant Warner, and this will turn into icing on the Terps. We come all the way back to Pharisee's crease. This face-off will come to Shano's left. Hokies with their first line on the ice. Gavin Peduzzi, the man who struck for Virginia Tech on the power play to take this face-off against Grant Warner. Peduzzi wins it back. Logus a shot. That one's blocked by Schreibman high. Hokies still dangerous here in the offensive zone. Hearn can't handle it against Schreibman. Schreibman pokes it through neutral. Brian Rice caught a chunk of it. No icing. Logus leaves it on the boards to Rice. Rice up ahead, has it bounce off his skate, but it ends up being a perfect play for Hearn. Austin Hearn, drop pass there. Shot from Kazai, save, rebound for Hearn. He can't pull the trigger. Grant Warner picks it up in his defensive zone, can't get around Peduzzi. Kazai with the puck on the far circle. Kazai down low, Peduzzi. Peduzzi, one shot, goes high there off the glass. It'll be held in at the point by Kellogg. Trevor Kellogg backhands that one around the boards. Peduzzi with one touch to Hearn. Hearn behind the Maryland net, looking for an offensive play. He leaves it down low. Grant Warner with a takeaway for the Terps. Can't get it past Kellogg. A block shot there for Horan. As Austin Hearn picks it up on the near circle. A big check from Warner inside. They were looking for a slot shot there. Weak one that never got all the way to Pharisee. A long point blast goes right on Pharisee. Comes up with a save. Grant Warner taken down by Hearn. Maryland headed to their first power play today. That's going to be a hook on number 17 in orange. Grant Warner, a great job in the defensive zone to draw the penalty right there. Austin Hearn hooking down number 5 in black. Terps headed to their first power play of the day. They were 1 for 1 yesterday against Rowan. A beautiful goal from Patrick Harnan to tie up that game with about 8 minutes on the clock in the third period. Terps with their first power play unit on the ice. We'll see what the second one looks like without Tommy Pilkington, but Virginia Tech wins their defensive zone draw. McLeod around the boards. He can't get around Craven. Caleb Craven with the keep in for the Terps. Send it down low. Nobody was home there as the Terps were a little bit out of position. Teske with another keep in at the far point, though. Patrick Harnan down on the far circle. Harnan across to the point for Craven. Duchesne has it bounce over his stick with that rolling puck. Duchesne sends it below the net for Body. James Body. Backhand pass, Harnan. Harnan to the point, it's Teske. Teske will wait, take the shot, and it goes high. Caleb Craven picks it up, getting inside. One more for Duchesne. He can't keep it on goal. Virginia Tech trying to clear this puck. Travis Duchesne trying to keep it in. He does with Body. Across. Teske. Down more. Harnan tips it just high, and Virginia Tech will clear that rebound. Into the bench, though. It'll stay all the way down in the Hokies' end of the ice. 8:02 left in the period. 1:14 left in the hooking to Austin Hearn. It appears that James Romps will take the spot of Tommy Pilkington on Maryland's second power play unit. Romps, who had Maryland's shorthanded strike to tie up this game with 19:02 left in this middle frame. Face-off getting set at Forrest Wright. Hokies win it. J.H. Lagas behind the Virginia Tech net will backhand this one into neutral. Eli Petter forced to play it in Maryland's defensive zone. Petter has Warner up ahead. Grant Warner on the boards trying to feed it across for Schreibman. Schreibman poking it towards Forrest. He'll stick it into the corner, and the Hokies clear it again. Jack Pharisee defers to Petter. Eli Petter leaves to Warner. Grant Warner, a little saucer pass there, finds Doherty. Colin Doherty and Eli Petter dangerously playing catch in their defensive zone. Hokies trying to take shorthanded advantage here. Kazai, and a glove save, Pharisee! Jack Pharisee, absolute robbery on that shorthanded attempt from Cam Kazai. Eli Petter and Colin Doherty crossed each other up in the defensive zone. It led to a shorthanded break for Kazai. Kazai in alone on Pharisee. Pharisee flashing the leather right there. Defensive zone draw for the Terps on this power play for another 35 seconds. In center, Virginia Tech will dump it back in to kill more time. Brian Teske with Maryland's first power play unit back on the ice feeds Harnan. Patrick Harnan into the offensive zone on the near circle. Harnan will do a stop-and-go move and play it down low. Body there for the Terps. James Body off the boards for Craven. Craven on the far circle. Caleb Craven off the boards goes to Teske at the far point. Teske looking for options with just 10 seconds left on the power play. Has that shot blocked, and this could be a 2-on-1 if the Hokies hurry. Patrick Harnan, though, gets back, and that'll kill off the rest of this power play opportunity for the Terps. Only a couple of quality looks as Hearn's fresh out of the box. He kicks it. 2-on-1 developing here. Too low with Peduzzi. Peduzzi can't keep it on net. Rebound off the boards. Hokies can't pass to each other right now. My goodness. James Body into the offensive zone. 1-on-1. Can't get around Trevor Kellogg there. Kellogg against Body in the corner. Body loses it to Hearn. In neutral, Sean Amon dumps it back into the offensive zone for the Terps. Off the boards, it'll be collected by Chase Wilson on the far circle. Shot in, the blocker save. Blake Warner was waiting for that rebound. It just came in too high. It was not on the ice. Max Sullivan in his defensive end leaves to Zach Stewart. Stewart, long stretch pass there, gets blocked by Hudrin to keep it in for the Terps in the offensive zone. He sends that shot wide of Forrest. Big hit there by Warner on Trevor Kellogg. Chase Wilson picks it up in center, and he's got Blake Warner with him. Warner backhands it over to Wallace, who will take it into Maryland's offensive zone. Wallace leaves to Hudrin. Hudrin tried to do a one-touch pass to Wallace. Wallace wasn't ready for it. Virginia Tech's out the other way, but only gets as far as Sean Amon in center. Amon will send it right at Forrest. He gloves it down and sends it over to Kellogg. Kellogg off the boards to Sullivan. Sullivan, long pass there. Hokies can't get a piece of it, and this will turn into icing on Virginia Tech. Gavin Peduzzi in the 2-on-1 opportunity with Cam Kazai. Kazai with the perfectly timed pass. Jack Pharisee out of position. Gavin Peduzzi can't keep it on goal. Terps catch a break, and then at the other end, nearly for Jack Hudrin. Offensive zone draw for the Terps is won by Virginia Tech, but Grant Warner gets possession down low with Schreibman. Schreibman back up to the point for Petter. Eli Petter will take the long shot, gets deflected along the line, score! A late tip there from Cam Horan. Back in the lineup after Tommy Pilkington was ejected. It's 2-1 Terps. A long-range shot by Eli Petter. Took a couple of bounces off Hokie sticks. It changed directions so many times. Tucker Forrest never knew where it was. The last tip came from Cam Horan, and the Terps have a lead here in the ACCHL Championship. That one off the boards right to Pharisees crease. He'll cover it up. 5:17 left in the middle 20. Cam Horan, what a goal right there. Started today as the extra skater. Did not get much ice time in that first period, if any at all. Tommy Pilkington gets ejected for a check to the head. He gets slotted in on the second line and delivers with a goal late in this middle frame. Offensive zone draw coming to the left of Pharisee here. It is won by Gavin Peduzzi. At the point, McLeod with a shot. It never gets caught up with a teammate there. Peduzzi had it caught up in his skate, and now Mohan has it in the corner. Mohan plays it slowly off the glass into center. Virginia Tech rewinding into the offensive zone. This is Truve Takare. Leaves to the near point for McLeod with a shot tipped by Peduzzi and a kick save. Rebound off the boards. Peduzzi couldn't keep it on net, and another shot block there by James Romps at the point. Brian Teskey leaves it in the corner to Mohan. Mohan off the boards for Romps. He'll play it back for Teskey once more over to Craven. Caleb Craven, one play there. He has Doherty. Doherty will have to send this through neutral. Virginia Tech knocks it down, but James Romps picks it up. Romps on the near circle will take the shot. It's blocked by a Hokie there. That was McLeod. Virginia Tech in neutral again. Virginia Tech into the offensive zone with Kazai. A long-range shot there is swallowed up by Pharisee. That one coming from Brian Rice at the far point. 4:22 remaining here in the middle 20. Shots on goal 25-15 in favor of the Hokies. But where it matters most, Terps on top 2-1. Offensive zone draw for Virginia Tech to Pharisee's right. Harnan wins it into the corner for Duchesne, but he can't get it out. Held in by the Hokies at the point. Rebound still loose in front. Hokies trying to feed it. Too low there. A couple of guys, no goal according to the officials as the net pops off. Gavin now down inside of Pharisee's crease. An immediate no goal signal from that official as there was a loose puck behind Shano. Net pops off there, so they blow the play dead. Jack Pharisee, cool as a cucumber in his crease today. I believe Virginia Tech is asking the officials to take a second look at that previous play to see if the puck crossed the goal line. Officials will discuss at center ice. This is a non-challengeable play. They have to review it on their own accord. Virginia Tech can lobby their case if they want to, but it must be the officials' decision to go to the replay booth on this one. Officials still discussing at center ice. Now they're going over to the scorekeeper's table, and now the Virginia Tech bench. Still appears that they're set, and now they're going to go to the replay booth. That puck was definitely loose behind Pharisee for a second. Matthew Tulo was standing in the crease. Did he keep that puck over the line for a millisecond? Let's see if I can pull up a review here. I'm going to pull up the live feed if I can, and we're going to take a look at that previous play. See if we can get an angle right here. Rewinding on my feed on this end. So you have the shot from Brian Rice at the point. The rebound's in tight for Tulo. He leaves it for now. And then you cannot tell from that angle. It looks like it's just sitting on the goal line. If they have one from behind the net, that's definitely what you're going to be looking for here. Referees currently standing at the review tablets with the headsets on. Virginia Tech and Maryland both gathered at their benches here. Now we have the behind the net feed. That puck is being blocked on visuals by Matthew Tulo on that angle. It's kind of useless there. Anytime you have the puck in frame, you cannot see where it is based on my view here. Travis Duchesne doing an excellent job boxing out in the crease. Matthew Tulo blocking the camera in the spot where the puck is being played there by Gavin now. You really can't see anything on this angle. The loose puck is there. It's still sitting in the blue. That one is definitely an inconclusive review. We'll see if they have another angle that they can pull up for us over here. That first angle that they shot with the wide angle camera on just the main game feed, you definitely looked like it was just sitting on the line. It never crossed. Officials taking off the headsets now. No goal. They confirmed the call on the ice. It was inconclusive. Matthew Tulo had the camera blocked from behind the net. You could not see where that puck was. Terps catch a break in tight. Real time, I thought it was no goal, and you definitely couldn't see anything on that replay review. Still an offensive zone draw here for the Hokies with 4:13 left in the middle 20. It'll be Peduzzi against Harnan at the dot. Harnan can't win it. Hokies trying to play it in front. Still loose in front there. James Body pushing it into this near corner. At the point, J.H. Lagas with a keep in. He'll take the shot. It's blocked by Rakowskis. Eli Petter off the glass. Can't get it out. Ends up back on Petter's stick. He'll play it over to Rakowskis. Rakowskis finds Body in center. James Body slowing things down. Trying to play it up ahead for Harnan. J.H. Lagas beats him to that puck. And this is Rice. Rice for Peduzzi. Gavin Peduzzi, 2-on-3. Peduzzi gets around one, trying to cut it on Pharisee. That backhand goes wide. Lagas sends it across. Rice creeping in at the circle, and that shot is held by Pharisee. Right into the Maryland logo on his stomach. Number 32 in black stands tall there. Hokies now up to 28 on the shot counter. It's been a while since the Terps have gotten out of their defensive zone. Maryland now putting their fourth line out there to try and set the tone here. It's Chase Wilson against Stewart at the dot. Stewart wins it. Long shot there from Lanigan, flagged down by Pharisee. He'll hold once more. 3:32 left in the second period. Stewart and Wilson to reset to Pharisee's right again. Stewart wins it once more, and a shot, they score. Right off the face-off, a bullet coming off the stick of Ewan Andrew, and we're tied at 2. Chase Wilson could not win the defensive zone draw against Zach Stewart. Nobody was around Ewan Andrew, who was creeping in right behind his teammate at the face-off dot. And Andrew wires it past Pharisee to tie up this game. 3.5 minutes left in the second period. We're back to a tie game. Virginia Tech wins this neutral zone draw. Brian Teske has it in his defensive end. He'll send it down the length of the ice, and this will turn into an icing against the Terps as Takare gets back there first for Virginia Tech. Going to go to Pharisee's left on this one. Gavin Peduzzi at the faceoff dot here against Graham Warner. Grant Warner off the tie-up, kicks it over to Craven. Craven will play it off the glass, but it's held in at the point by Takare. That shot is blocked by Teske. Teske will play it off the boards. Sullivan has to play it for Virginia Tech. No icing. Sullivan up ahead. He's got a teammate. That's Hearn, who can't handle it cleanly. It allows Craven to get back. Good poke check there from Brian Teske up for Warner. Warner, though, can't connect with Schreibman. Look out for the Hokies here. Hearn in tight, still poking at that puck. It's loose in front. Warner clears it into the corner. At the point, it's held in again by Takare. Takare down for Hearn with a shot. That one's gloved down by Pharisee. He'll squeeze once more. Hokies have really tilted the ice here in the latter half of this second period. It's 33-15 in the shot counter, but still 2-2 on the scoreboard. Luke Mohan going up against Gavin now at the faceoff dot. Now wins it into the corner for Virginia Tech. Creeping in is Tal Lanigan, putting it in front. DeVivo couldn't get a stick on it, and the Terps push it into neutral. Trevor Kellogg back in his defensive end for Virginia Tech. Cross ice there. Finds Tal Lanigan. Only gets as far as Andrew Wallace on that dump and attempt. Maryland out the other way. Here's Doherty. Doherty on the near circle with a shot. It squeaks through Tucker Forrest. That one dangerously going through number 33 in orange. He caught just enough of that puck. Kellogg off the boards. He's got a teammate there. It's DeVivo. Jackson DeVivo one-on-one against Amon. He'll take the shot and fires it wide. Gavin now on the near circle. Now leaves for DeVivo down low. DeVivo tried to do one more touch. Nobody was home on that pass. Behind the net, in front, too low. Can't pull the trigger cleanly there. James Romps picks it up for the Terps. Romps pushes it through neutral as he goes off for a change. Hokies resetting with another breakout here. That puck tipped into the offensive zone there by Zach Stewart. On the boards, Jacob Wachtel against Jack Rakowskis here. It's picked up by Stewart. Up to the point, Laugus. Laugus sends it across for Rice. It goes through him and forces the Hokies back into neutral. Delayed offside, now washed out. Rakowskis behind Pharisee. Rakowskis waiting for something to open up. He chooses Wallace. Andrew Wallace chooses the glass to go up for James Body. Body can't get it past Wachtel there. Wachtel back into the offensive zone for Virginia Tech. Off the post on that one. He was taking the sharp angle shot. Patrick Harnan sends it around the boards behind his own cage. Andrew Wallace doesn't have a lot of options. He's one-on-one against Laugus there. It's taken away by Stewart. Wallace still doing everything he can to stall up this puck in front for Wachtel. He couldn't keep it on goal. 1 minute remaining in this middle frame. James Body trying to poke this out. He can't. Ewan Andrew behind the net in front for Stewart. That one was blocked off by Duchesne. Ewan Andrew still with it behind the Maryland cage for Virginia Tech. Andrew has that pass in front, read by Body. Body will backhand this one. Does it have enough pacing for icing? Laugus getting back there. Yes, it does. 39 seconds left in the middle 20 here in Winston-Salem. Shots on goal, 33-16 in favor of Virginia Tech. Score tied 2-2 between Terps and Hokies in this ACCHL M2 Premier Championship. Offensive zone draw for the Hokies will be taken by Peduzzi. Going up against Harnan for the Terps. Harnan trying to win it into the corner. Virginia Tech gets possession behind the net with Hearn. Hearn leaves it on the boards to Kazai. Cam Kazai. Up at the point, it's Sullivan. Sullivan plays it high off the glass. Misses his teammate there. Andrew Wallace trying to eat it into the boards to kill more time. He loses the puck. This is Peduzzi. Gavin Peduzzi. Back up at the point. Peduzzi across. Sullivan a shot. Save. Rebound for McLeod. It's blocked by a sliding James Body. Another shot block there for the Terps. Harnan picks up that loose puck, and he'll slowly play it into center, and that'll kill the rest of this middle 20 as Pharisee blockers it into the corner. We've got an exciting one in the M2 Premier Championship, folks. Terps and Hokies tied 2-2 after 40. I'll be back in a few minutes for your intermission report from Winston-Salem. Welcome back for this second intermission report here from the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex at the ACCHL M2 Premier Championship game. My name is Andy Parr, and that second period, a lot more action than we got in the first. 4 total goals, 2 apiece as we enter the third period. Opening the scoring on the power play for Virginia Tech, number 12, Gavin Peduzzi, the most dangerous player on this ice for either team, in my opinion. Got a one-timer in front of Jack Pharisee and roofed it over him. But right off the face-off, still shorthanded since it was a 5-minute major. Virginia Tech with a turnover in front of their own net, and James Romps pots it behind Tucker Forrest to knot up the score at 1-1. Terps kill off the rest of that 5-minute major, assessed to Tommy Pilkington for a check to the head. And then after that, Maryland gets a little bit of momentum. They're starting to cycle on offense. And then a long point shot by Eli Petter gets deflected in tight by Cam Horan to give the Terps their first lead of the afternoon. They were up 2-1 for a while, but before the period closed out, Ewan Andrew, a set piece off the faceoff for Virginia Tech, wired it past Jack Pharisee to give us a score 2 apiece entering this third period. Shots on goal, Virginia Tech really upped the ante in the latter half of that frame. Currently sit at 33-16 in favor of the Hokies. But it's 2 apiece where it matters most, and an extra wrinkle on Tommy Pilkington getting ejected, something that I did not consider. Terps still play in the Crab Pot this weekend. They will go to Annapolis to play Navy in a 4-team tournament on Friday, and then their opponent on Saturday will depend on the results of Friday night games. But since Pilkington was ejected from this game, he must serve a 1-game suspension. So Tommy Pilkington will be unavailable for Maryland's Friday night matchup against the M1 Navy midshipmen. A huge loss for the Terps in that game. But Maryland still focused on the task at hand today, looking to claim the ACCHL title. They've got 20 more minutes in a tie game. We'll be back in about 7 minutes for the third period here from Winston-Salem. Welcome back to the ACCHL Championship on the Maryland Hockey Network between the number 7 Maryland Terrapins and the number 5 Virginia Tech Hokies. Both teams now on the ice getting ready for this third period. Still 35 more seconds on the intermission clock. But tied 2 apiece after the first 40. Shots on goal, 33-16 in favor of Virginia Tech. But Maryland making the Hokies pay when they get chances in tight. All 4 goals today in the second period. That middle frame full of scoring. 1 power play strike for Virginia Tech plus a shorthanded goal for Maryland. The other 2 both 5-on-5. Both teams now gathering at their bench. Maryland, Virginia Tech getting ready for the final 20 here in Winston-Salem. Glory on the line. 20 minutes now on the clock in arena. Officials telling the benches it's time to get going. Terps and Hokies. After 40, they're tied at 2. It'll all come down to this final 20. Both teams with their first line out on the ice. It's Harnan against Peduzzi at the face-off dot. And we are underway for the final 20 here in Winston-Salem. Virginia Tech with possession off the face-off. Brian Teske intercepts in his defensive end over for Craven. Craven up ahead looking for body. He can't handle it cleanly. Virginia Tech dumps it back at Pharisie's end of the ice. Pharisee out of his net, leaves to Teske. Teske up ahead for Duchesne. Can't get it out of the zone. Rice keeps it in deep. On the far circle, Austin Hearn plays it down low for the Hokies. First one there is going to be Duchesne for Maryland. Travis Duchesne leaving it on the boards. Big scrum for it. Look out in front. Kazai whistles that one high. J.H. Lagas keeps it in tight for the Hokies. Behind the net, Brian Teske fighting for it for Maryland. Cam Kazai joins the battle. He gets it out for Hearn on the far circle. Far point, it's Lagas. Lagas across. Rice on the near side with a shot. That one goes wide of Pharisee on the stick side. Patrick Harnan picks that up off the boards. James Body has it in center. Body 1-on-2 into the offensive zone as his teammates are changing. He's just trying to stall time. Virginia Tech getting a breakout going here. Backhand pass read by Andrew Wallace. Sean Amon up ahead has Warner. Warner only able to deflect it, though, to negate an icing. J.H. Lagas back there for Virginia Tech. Plays it over for Rice. Up ahead, Tulo with the puck. Tulo has a teammate there. It's DeVivo. Jackson DeVivo hit into the boards there by Schreibman trying to cross one in front to Rice. He couldn't keep his stick on the ice. DeVivo behind the Maryland cage in front. Tulo jams it wide. Still loose behind the net. Gavin now picks it up for the Hokies. DeVivo up at the point. It's Tal Lanigan with a shot. That's blocked by Andrew Wallace. He's been doing that all weekend. Terps clear it down the ice, and this will turn into icing as Trevor Kellogg beats Michael Schreibman to the face-off dot there. 1 minute and 40 seconds gone in this final frame. Shots on goal now up to 34 for Virginia Tech, still at 16 for Maryland. Offensive zone draw for the Hokies as they put their 4th line out onto the ice. It will be taken by Zach Stewart against Grant Warner. Broken stick being returned to the Virginia Tech bench there. Stewart and Warner at the dot. Warner wins it for Maryland, back for Wallace. Wallace leaves to Amon. Amon can't handle it cleanly. Look out here off the side of the cage there for Wachtel. Tal Lanigan trying to keep it in for the Hokies. He'll dump it down low. Andrew Wallace chasing Zach Stewart to that puck. Stewart gets there first. He plays it up at the point for Kellogg. Kellogg a long shot right into the breadbasket and a quick whistle in Maryland's favor right there. Jack Pharisee unable to squeeze that puck. Officials blow it dead prematurely. Terps catch a break. Jack Pharisee giving the official a little thank you after that whistle as he adjusts his mask on the cage. Just 2 minutes gone in this third and final frame. Still 2 apiece between the Hokies and the Terps. Their championship game today is also being broadcast on the WV Video Productions YouTube channel. There you can find visuals. If you would like those, please tune into their channel and then mute their audio, and you can listen to the Maryland Hockey Network coverage with their video stream. Jack Pharisee still tending to his issues with his equipment. Maybe that was why the whistle came in prematurely. Not because the refs thought Pharisee had the puck, but maybe his mask had a strap pop off. And now Pharisee has to take his mask all the way to the Maryland bench to try and fix this issue. Backup goaltender Patty Adams to try and help out the freshman netminder with the issue with his goaltending mask straps. Bit of a lengthy delay here in Winston-Salem. Terps will take the break, get re-rested. Virginia Tech doing the same. Playing life as a highway and arena here, probably about 150 people in attendance for this Sunday afternoon Super Sunday game on both sides of the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex. The second and third members of our Maryland Hockey Network team, Bailey Unchester and Owen Korzak, are currently working with the WV Video Productions crew on their broadcast. Owen is doing color commentary. Bailey Unchester operating the tight camera that they use for a lot of the replay angles. It's been a fun weekend here in Winston-Salem. We've really enjoyed working with everybody at the ACC, and it has been quite the tournament weekend for these two squads. The Terps have been giant killers so far, taking out the number 2 and number 1 seeds in back-to-back days. Virginia Tech plowing through High Point and then squeaking by Penn State last night. Virginia Tech in the championship game for the second straight year. Last season, they were on this ice sheet and lost against the Penn State Ice Lions. They avenged that loss last night. But Virginia Tech, they were so close to that crown last year, they could taste that they want it badly this season. Terps in the championship game for the first time as a member of the ACC. Maryland got bounced in round 1 by the eventual champion Ice Lions last year. Gave Penn State the closest fight of anybody in the weekend, though. Ice Lions only won that one 3-2. Terps had a lot of chances, down 1 late in that game, and were robbed by Penn State goaltending. And now it appears we're ready for play. Luke Mohan against West Valiant at the faceoff dot here. To Pharisee's left. Off the tie-up, Maryland trying to gain possession, and they will in the corner with Eli Petter. Petter rings it around the boards. Romps there for the Terps. Romps into neutral, trying to get around a couple of Hokies. He can't quite do it there. Delayed offside now, washed out. Tucker Forrest pads it aside, finds a teammate, but he can't get it past James Romps, although they say Romps played it outside the blue line. Another delayed offside on Maryland. They're forced to check up. Eli Petter touches the bat puck, so this wipes out an icing on Virginia Tech. Petter behind Pharisee to play it. Terps and Hokies fighting for the puck in the far corner. It ends up behind the net. Rakowskis there for Maryland. One-touch Petter finds Doherty. Colin Doherty spins once. Now in neutral. Doherty picking up speed, 1-on-2. Doherty's going to rip it in a glove save there for Tucker Forrest. Colin Doherty started off in his own faceoff dot, picked up speed in neutral, got in 1-on-2, and had a shooting lane on Forrest. Forrest had to flash that leather late. Maryland with their fourth line out there for this offensive zone draw. It's one into the corner by Virginia Tech. Hokies can't get it out, though. Jack Hudron keeps it in deep. Kevin Peduzzi plays it up ahead for Hearn. Hearn can't get it around Craven. Craven, though, mishandles it. And now Virginia Tech has the puck in neutral. Virginia Tech into the offensive zone. Lagas with a shot. Kick save for Pharisee. In the corner, Blake Warner picks it up. He'll play it slowly off the glass. Brian Rice picks it back up for the Hokies. Rice into the offensive zone. Hudron, the first one there for the Terps. Blake Warner trying to backhand it through neutral. Only gets it as far as Rice. Rice will dump it right back into the O-zone. Jack Hudron can't get it past Hearn there. Hearn around the boards. Caleb Craven, first one back for Maryland. Craven trying to play it through neutral. First one there was Tal Lanigan of the Hokies. Lanigan pushes it ahead for DeVivo. Blake Warner back there for the Terps. He'll sky it through neutral again as the Terps need a change. Virginia Tech now in the offensive zone again. Hokies can't hold possession. Maryland clears it through center once more. Behind the Virginia Tech net, it's picked up by Kellogg. He loses it, though. Maryland's trying to get back in business here with Body. Body trying to force a pass there. It ends up with Jackson DeVivo, who pushes it back into Virginia Tech's O zone. But a delayed offside here. Hokies forced to check up in neutral. Virginia Tech opts for the dump and chase as they want to change out their forward personnel. Sean Amon behind Jack Pharisee collecting this puck up for Duchesne. Travis Duchesne can't cleanly handle it through neutral. Back again, it's Wallace getting a breakout going for the Terps. Wallace off the boards. He was looking for Body. Body couldn't play it, but Max Sullivan gets there before it's an icing. Grant Warner can't hold the blue line there. Offside called on the Terps. Face-off will come out to neutral. 15:25 left here in the third frame. Shots on goal, 35-18 in favor of Virginia Tech. Scoreboard still 2 apiece between the Terps and the Hokies. They just played Semi-Charmed Life in Arena, one of my favorite songs. Crowd did not seem to be into it, though, unfortunately. Icing here on the Terps. It'll go all the way back down to Pharisee's end of the ice as they pick up Semi-Charmed Life right where it left off. Maryland currently with their second line on the ice. Cam Horan filling in for the ejected Tommy Pilkington. Grant Warner against Zach Stewart at this face-off dot. Look out for Ewan Andrews. He scored on a set piece in the second period on one of these plays, but the Terps win it into the corner. Hokies fighting for the puck down low. Zach Stewart can't get around Eli Petter. Petter plays it up for Horan. Cam Horan picking up speed in center. He'll play it off the glass to dump it into the offensive zone for Maryland. First one back there is Brian Rice. Rice can't get around Horan in front. Michael Schreibman couldn't pull the trigger there. Brian Rice recollecting the puck for the Hokies. He pushes it into center. Rakowskis back there for the Terps. Eli Petter picking up speed. Petter on the far circle will just poke it down low. Terps in the middle of a defensive change, so nobody's covering that far point, but this should turn into icing on Virginia Tech. Linesmen agree. Just over 5 minutes gone here in this third frame. Still tied between the Terps and Hokies in this ACCHL M2 Premier Championship. Luke Mohan going up at the dot against Zach Stewart here. Mohan wins it up for Teskey. Teskey playing it down low. Skips over Romps. Mohan will chase it down in the corner with Craven. Craven gets there first. Zach Stewart, though, beats Romps to that pass. And Virginia Tech starting another breakout as that one bounces off of Doherty. It was a delayed offside on Maryland. Stewart picks it back up. Zach Stewart, 1-on-2. He'll take the shot. That one's blocked wide by Caleb Craven. Brian Teskey around the boards to his defensive partner, Craven. Craven leaves for Doherty. Colin Doherty plays it off the half wall. James Romps now gets it up for Craven. Craven, he was looking for Mohan there. That pass a little bit too strong, and it ends up with Chris Kuby of the Hokies. Tal Lanigan with it for Virginia Tech. Lanigan can't get around Doherty there. Loose puck in the Virginia Tech defensive zone is picked up by the Hokies. This is Kellogg. Kellogg playing catch with a defensive partner, Lanigan. Finds a stretch pass there for Valiant. West Valiant shoots that puck wide of Pharisee's cage. Patrick Harnan trying to carry it out of the defensive zone. He gets checked there by Justin Daytona. Sean Amon sends it back into center where Gavin Peduzzi is for the Hokies, and he sends it right back at Pharisee. Pharisee leaves to Amon again. Sean Amon facing heavy pressure there from Peduzzi. Peduzzi will send it around the boards. Wallace there for the Terps. James Body trying to backhand this out of the zone. He can't get around Hearn there. Austin Hearn creeping in on the circle. Hearn looking for a pass in front. Kazai got one in tight on Pharisee, and now Terps trying to catch Virginia Tech in transition. It's Wallace. Andrew Wallace forced to play it onto the outside. James Body will pick it up on these near boards. Body sends it across, but the Terps were in the middle of a change. Nobody was home there. Fresh off the ice. That'll turn into an icing on Virginia Tech. Jack Rakowskis immediately had changed with Andrew Wallace, so he had to jump on that puck and beat Austin Hearn to the face-off dot there. And this is the last chunk of Semi-Charmed Life. They are going to complete the song in arena, folks. Grant Warner to take this offensive zone draw against Gavin Peduzzi. Warner wins it back for Rakowskis, but Rakowskis can't handle it cleanly. He chases it down in center and plays to Petter. Petter up ahead as Horan tips it into the offensive zone. First one back there is Takare for the Hokies. Takare off the boards, he's got Hearn. Hearn plays it off the glass into the Maryland's defensive end. Rakowskis back there for the Terps. Rakowskis up ahead finds Horan. Haran pokes it over the blue line. Lagas can't handle it cleanly. He's getting pressured there by Schreibman and has to fling it over to Brian Rice. Loose puck in neutral. Michael Schreibman kicked it forward. J.H. Lagas back there for Virginia Tech. Hokies starting another breakout here. This will turn into an icing on Virginia Tech as that tip off the stick of Matthew Tulo was well behind the center ice line. Terps getting a few offensive zone draws in a row here, trying to build momentum in this tie game. Mohan at the faceoff dot here, gets it into the corner. At the point, this is Teske. Teske will take the shot and romps with a good tip there. That one just missing Tucker Forrest's crease. Behind the net, Brian Rice has it for the Hokies. Rice, long pass there. He was looking for DeVivo. That one missed him, but DeVivo looked like he had the step around romps there. The officials blow it down for icing. Virginia Tech might have a case on that one. I would not have called icing there personally. The officials talk for a moment and then confirm it. They could have placed it back at neutral if they wanted to change their call. They do not. It's another offensive zone draw for the Terps, and this tired Hokie unit is forced to stay out again. Now in Mohan at the faceoff dot, now wins it for the Hokies. That one a very slow clear by Rice, and Virginia Tech can finally change. Brian Rice with the puck in his defensive end for Virginia Tech. Rice up ahead. He was looking for a teammate. Ends up with DeVivo. DeVivo drop pass. Tulo backhand. That one's blocked by a sliding Craven. The rebound in tight. That one was not on goal from Now. Now behind Maryland's cage. Gavin Now looking for something. He's going to Lanigan at the point, who lost a step. Shoots that one wide of the crease. Trevor Kellogg trying to hold it in at the far point against Doherty. He will for a moment, but Caleb Craven picks it up for the Terps, plays it across to Teske. Teske back over, skate to stick goes Craven. Craven up ahead for Doherty. That one missed its intended target, and this will be an icing on Maryland. Nearly 9 minutes gone in this third frame. Not a lot of action here so far in this third period. Shots on goal, 36-18 in favor of the Hokies. But two apiece where it matters. Terps were trying to sneak in an extra line change after this icing. Officials informing Maryland which 5 skaters have to stay out. Zach Stewart against Chase Wilson at the dot. Stewart wins it. Terps able to clear the puck, though. Blake Warner sending it down the ice. And Forrest decides to play it and negates an icing call against the Terps. Jack Hudron with a keep in at the blue line. Down low, Blake Warner with a shot that's blocked in tight. Warner spin move in front. Hudron score, no goal! Jack Hudron put it behind Tucker Forrest. Officials have blown the play dead already, and we take our media timeout here. A big break for Virginia Tech on that one. Jack Hudron pushed the puck over the red line, but officials had already blown it dead. They said Forrest had enough of that puck, and they blew it dead for a stoppage. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. Welcome back to the ACCHL M2 Premier Finals on the Maryland Hockey Network. Just before this media timeout, Jack Hudron thought he had given Maryland the lead. He had poked the puck behind Tucker Forrest, but the officials had already blown the play dead for Forrest, freezing the puck. Tough break there for the Terps, but they got an offensive zone draw here out of the media timeout. Grant Warner wins it. Brian Teskey was pinching, though, and he has to go into neutral to play it. Dump and chase here for the Terps. J.H. Laugus back there for Virginia Tech. He's getting pressured by a couple of Maryland skaters. He finds Kazai, though. Kazai can't get it over his own blue line. Still loose in neutral. J.H. Laugus will pick it up, play it off the glass for Peduzzi. Peduzzi can't handle it cleanly. Haran's got the puck for the Terps. He goes to Teskey. Maryland's captain settling down in the defensive zone, plays to Craven. Craven, long pass there, hits Warner over the red line, no ice. Pass there, intercepted by Schreibman. Grant Warner on the near side with a shot. That one's deflected well out of play. A good shot block there from Gavin Peduzzi. Grant Warner on this near point was trying to rip one, looking for a rebound off of Tucker Forrest with a couple of guys in tight. Gavin Peduzzi putting his stick into that shooting lane to force that puck into the netting. Face-off in the offensive zone is not won by Maryland. Virginia Tech takes it back with Lanigan. This is Tulo. Matthew Tulo skies this one through neutral. Trying to get a step on everybody was now he falls down on his own accord. Now just lost a step. He was never able to get a clean shot in on Pharisee. Pharisee squeezes it and will go to his left for this defensive zone draw for the Terps. Harnan to go up against Gavin now at the face-off dot here. Hokies win it into the corner. Mishandled at the point there by Kellogg. James Body's got in center. Body, drop pass there. Harnan, far side, saved by Forrest. A good shot there from Tucker Forrest and some extra pushing and shoving after the whistle between James Body and Gavin Now. Great play there from James Body, intercepting that pass and the point at his defensive zone. Carries it 1-on-2 through neutral. Perfect drop pass to Patrick Harnan, who rips one from the far circle. And a good save there for Tucker Forrest. Over 10 minutes gone in this third period now. Shots on goal 36-19 in favor of the Hokies. Harnan against Peduzzi at the dot here. Harnan wins it into the corner. Eamon with a shot right off the face-off. It didn't look like Forrest had a good sight line on that one as he just jumped. Duchesne rips that one high. Harnan collects it on the far side. Patrick Harnan on the boards trying to tie it up with a couple of Hokies. James Body joins the fight for the Terps. Gavin Peduzzi in there for Virginia Tech. Cam Kazai poking at it as well. Terps change off one defenseman. James Body comes out with the puck for a moment. A quick shot there. Patrick Harnan saw the puck sitting down as everybody else was in a scrum, and he ripped it right at Tucker Forrest. 9:22 left here in the third period. Still 2-2, Terps and Hokies in this ACCHL championship game. Mohan at the face-off dot here. He wins it for the Terps in the offensive end. Craven at the far point playing it down low. Doherty trying to collect it. He sends it in deep. First one back there for the Hokies is Brian Rice. He plays it into neutral. Rice, though, missed his teammate. Gavin now has to go to the far side to collect that puck. James Romps picks it up in the defensive end. Ewan Andrew can't handle it cleanly inside. They were looking for now. Tulo with a shot. It gets blocked down by his own teammate. Tulo still with it. A backhand on Pharisee and a kick save. Doherty picking up that rebound. Finds Romps in center. Brian Rice sends it deep for Craven. Caleb Craven settling down in Maryland's defensive end, leaves to Teskey. Brian Teskey playing catch with Craven. Craven mishandles it, has to play it up for Doherty. Doherty can't get it cleanly. Virginia Tech sends it around the boards. Ewan Andrew leaves it behind the net. Caleb Craven there for the Terps, plays it off the boards, can't get it around. Tal Lanigan with a shot for the point. The rebound was loose in front. Ewan Andrew couldn't pull the trigger. Shot for the circle, blocked by a sliding Luke Mohan. Still loose in the corner. Virginia Tech's got it. It's Wachtel trying to feed the net front. Caleb Craven picks it up off his goaltender's pad, and Doherty gets it in center. Doherty against Andrew. Doherty trying to dangle around him. Ewan Andrew with a good defensive play there as the Terps are changing. Lanigan trying to clear his defensive zone. He can't. Grant Warner with a keep in on the near side. Warner, though, can't handle it cleanly. Look out here. Hokies trying to catch Maryland in transition. This is Stewart on the near circle. Stewart pressured by Rakowskis and Schreibman leaves to Ewan Andrew. Loose puck behind Maryland's net. Eli Petter trying to clear it out. Block shot there for Michael Schreibman off the stick of Stewart. Petter picks it up. Michael Schreibman can't get it out, though. Jack Rakowskis picks it up on the far circle, off the boards to Haran. Haran will send it around on the far side. Austin Hearn can't hold the blue line. Virginia Tech's back in neutral. They'll dump in again. Rakowskis up ahead for Grant Warner. One-touch Schreibman. Schreibman, he's got a step on Takare. Schreibman with a shot. Kick save. The rebound for Warner. Saved another one. Warner playing it up to the point for Amon. He couldn't get there in time. Now Virginia Tech with a 2-on-1 developing. It's Kazai with Takare. A great defensive effort from Sean Amon. What a play there. Run and gun hockey here in the late stages of the third period. Sean Amon, a beautiful defensive play on that 2-on-1. Takare never even got a shot off as that one bounces awkwardly into Tucker Forrest-Crease. He'll jump on top of it. We're shaping up for an exciting finish here in Winston-Salem. 6:47 remaining in the third period. Offensive zone draw for the Terps coming to the right of Tucker Forrest. Harnan to take it for Maryland. In the corner, it's picked up by Body. James Body trying to play it off the boards. The only one there is a couple of Hokies. Matthew Tulo touches that one with the high stick, so Brian Teske picks it up for Maryland. Teske has that pass deflected by Tulo. Caleb Craven takes him into the boards. Tulo against Craven. Craven wins that puck battle, and now Craven's got in neutral with Body. Body getting into the offensive zone for Maryland. Leaves Harnan. Harnan trying to push it on goal. He puts it wide. Body in front. Nobody home on that centering pass. Travis Duchesne chases down that loose puck in center, and he'll dump it into the offensive end as the Terps need a change. Virginia Tech looking for a breakout pass here. It only gets as far as Eli Petter. Petter sends it right back into the Hokie end of the ice. J.H. Lagas there for Virginia Tech. Finds Wachtel. Wachtel up ahead, one-touch Andrew. Andrew doesn't get it past Petter, though. Petter around the boards. First one there is Romps for the Terps. Romps trying to play it over the blue line. Rakowskis joins the fight, and now it's in neutral. Mohan there for Maryland. Mohan plays it back to Rakowskis. Rakowskis loses it to Wachtel. Look out here. Wachtel feeding in front, and that pass is blocked by Eli Petter into the corner. Petter picks it up behind Pharisee's cage. Petter off the boards for Doherty. It's in neutral with Kellogg. Kellogg dumping it in for the Hokies. Pharisee goes out of his net to play it to Rakowskis. Under 5.5 to play here in the third period now. Romps has that pass intercepted by Kazai. Warner with a takeaway in center. Grant Warner 1-on-2. Warner on the far circle trying to cut inside. Warner looking in front. Schreibman a shot and a sliding block by Peduzzi. Schreibman had an open cage. Gavin Peduzzi realized it, and he slid in front of his netminder to bail him out there. Wallace shoots that in from center. Forrest goes out of his net to play it and leaves to Kellogg, who drops to Kazai. Cam Kazai. 1-on-2 in the offensive end for Virginia Tech. Kazai looking for a wrap. Kazai couldn't pull the trigger there. Across. Sullivan a one-timer. That one's blocked by Wallace. Max Sullivan at the near point. He'll take another one. Pharisee with the save. The rebound loose. Sean Amon has to put it into the corner. Takare keeps it deep for the Virginia Tech Hokies. Romps finally gets it into center. Maryland gets a little bit of breathing room, but Tulo's right back on the charge for Virginia Tech. Tulo 1-on-2. Tulo looking for a passing lane, cutting in front. Loose puck there. DeVivo couldn't get the shot off as Tulo crashed into the net and knocked off the post behind Pharisee. Under 5 to play now here in Winston-Salem in this championship game. Shots on goal 40-23 in favor of Virginia Tech. But the scoreboard is still 2 apiece between Terps and Hokies. Harnan to take this face-off in the defensive zone against Now. Now wins it back to the point, but Lagas can't handle it cleanly. He'll have to chase it down in center. J.H. Lagas plays catch with Rice. Rice up ahead, gets it right back to him from Andrew. Virginia Tech dumps it into the offensive zone. Eli Petter in a foot race. He beats Now to it as Now falls down. Eli Petter plays it into center. First one there is Virginia Tech with Lagas. J.H. Lagas plays it to Pharisee's side. Eli Petter off the boards. He'll leave up the boards to Body. Now here comes Harnan. Harnan picking up speed in center. Harnan 1-on-2 and a blocker save for Forrest. High in the air. It stays in play. in the corner. Virginia Tech picks it up. This is Stewart. Zach Stewart trying to get around Body. He can't quite do it there. James Body, and this will be a delayed offside on Virginia Tech. Ewan Andrew touches up. Jack Pharisee leaves behind his net for Petter. Petter out to Rakowskis. Rakowskis across, and that one had to go skate to stick for Warner. Cam Horan does not get a piece of that puck, and this turns into an icing against the Terps. 3:12 remaining in the third period. Still 2-2 between Terps and Hokies. Defensive zone draw coming up for Maryland here. Peduzzi against Warner to Pharisee's left. Two of them tie up. Warner trying to move it forward. It ends up in the corner with Petter. Petter around for Rakowskis. Rakowskis trying to get it off of Hearn's stick. Warner dangerously playing it towards Pharisee's cage. First one there is going to be Kazai on the far side, but Kazai has it stick check there. Virginia Tech stuck in neutral, and Petter's got it again. Petter up ahead trying to hit a stretch pass with Grant Warner. The two of them can't connect. Tal Lanigan dumps it in for the Hokies. Petter around the boards. It's held in at the far point by Kellogg. Kellogg sending it in deep for the Hokies. This is Kazai back up to the point. A long-range shot from Lanigan is saved by Pharisee. He swallows up that rebound too. 2:34 left in the third period. Big-time game here in the ACCHL M2 Premier Championship. Neither team willing to budge. Luke Mohan to take this defensive zone draw against Gavin now. Mohan wins it into the corner. Wallace off the glass trying to get it out. He will. Max Sullivan goes dump and chase, but it bounces into Maryland's bench. This faceoff will stay in neutral. Faceoff going to exactly center ice. Mohan will go against Now again. Now wins it for the Hokies. Virginia Tech trying to set up an offensive zone breakout. Sean Amon picks it up behind Pharisee. Amon looking for something. He just decides to go into center and force Virginia Tech to reset again. Sullivan dumps it right at Pharisee. He had to be ready for that one. Wallace plays to Amon. Amon up ahead. Mohan can't handle it cleanly. To Vivo looking for a pass. It bounces off a couple of sticks, and it's in neutral again. Sullivan with another dump in right at Pharisee once more. I believe that one probably would have been offsides if it had fooled Shano, but he squeezes it nonetheless, and it'll be a defensive zone draw for the Terps. Gavin Peduzzi to go up at the faceoff dot against Patrick Harnan here to Pharisee's right. Two of them tie it up. Still beneath Harnan, it looks like. And now Travis Duchesne has the puck for the Terps. Duchesne getting stick checked hard there. It ends up in Virginia Tech's stick possession. Brian Teske with a takeaway, though. Teske up ahead. He was looking for a passing lane with Harnan. J.H. Lagus read that. Caleb Craven picks it up on his own faceoff dot. Plays it across to Teske. Teske trying to go through neutral. The only one there is Hearn. Austin Hearn 1-on-2. He'll fire it right at Pharisee. Rebound was loose as Hearn gets hit hard, loses his helmet right in the slot. A huge hit laid by Caleb Craven right there. Austin Hearn didn't absolutely decked by number 7 in black. Officials are going to discuss that previous play. There was no signal for a penalty initially, but Austin Hearn did lose his helmet, which sometimes can sway a referee's opinion. Officials still discussing at the scorekeeper desk. The linesman will join this huddle. Brian Teske and Matthew Tulo both awaiting the official's decision, and they'll get their explanations here. We don't know what the choice is yet. We'll see if we can read the body language from here. Brian Teskey not showing much reaction, neither is Tulo. Brian Teskey now skating over to the Maryland bench. It appears that we're just going to stay 5-on-5. And the face-off will go back out to neutral. 1:26 left here in the third period. Maryland with the kid line on the ice. Peduzzi against Warner at the dot. Warner wins it back for Teskey. Brian Teskey, high through neutral. He was looking for Haran. The first one there is Kellogg, who gets crossed up with his defensive partner there. Maryland couldn't take advantage quite yet. Now Grant Warner with it in center. Warner gets around one on the far circle. Will have to play it in deep. Around the net, Michael Schreibman there for the Terps. Schreibman leaves to Warner on the boards. Teskey pinching in against Kazai now. Warner with a keep in at the circle. Saved by Forrest. Rebound. Schreibman got it in tight. He couldn't put it home. Under a minute to go here in the third period now. Kazai with the puck for Virginia Tech. Cam Kazai picking up speed in center. Kazai trying to get around Craven. That one dribbling right to Pharisee. He'll cover it up with 45 on the clock. Michael Schreibman, a golden opportunity in tight on Forrest. Just didn't get enough mustard on his shot. Left it low and a little soft. This faceoff will come to Pharisee's left. Offensive zone draw for the Hokies with 45 seconds remaining in the third period. Patrick Harnon going up against Gavin now. Now wins it. At the point, that was Logus going across for Rice. Rice will take the shot. It's blocked by Duchesne and into the Maryland bench. Maryland bench, huge fans of that one. Big number 24, Travis Duchesne, getting in that shooting lane immediately. It'll be another offensive zone draw for the Hokies, though. This time, though, to Pharisee's right. Off the tie-up, Virginia Tech gets possession. This is Rice. Rice sending it down low for Tulo. Matthew Tulo against Rakowskis on the boards. He'll leave to Now. Gavin Now up to the point for Rice. Rice choosing his options, goes to Logus on the far side. Logus rips a shot, tipped in tight by Tulo, and Pharisee gloves that one out of the air. 24 seconds left on the clock in regulation. Terps will change their defensive core. Virginia Tech switching out their forwards. Guess who's on the ice for the Hokies? It's number 12, Gavin Peduzzi, taking this face-off against Patrick Harnon to Pharisee's left. Body and Kazai were creeping in behind the linesmen. They tell them to back up. In the corner, Peduzzi picks it up for the Hokies. Peduzzi down low. One more touch to Peduzzi. He couldn't pull the shot. Logus with a shot, and that's a blocker save for Pharisee. Brian Rice rips one wide. Behind the net, it's Kazai in front. Peduzzi doesn't get all the way to him. 8 seconds left in the regulation time. This is Logus feeding it in front. Still loose. Shot from Tulo goes high. The rebound cleared out by Teskey at the point. Rice breaks his stick, and it doesn't get all the way to Pharisee. And we are headed to sudden victory overtime for the second straight day on the Maryland Hockey Network. Well, folks, you're getting your money's worth today. We're going to take a 2-minute intermission. And then Maryland versus Virginia Tech. Sudden victory overtime. 10 minutes on the clock. 5-on-5 play. Hokies have not played in the extra session this playoff tournament. Terps went to the extra time yesterday against Rowan. Grant Warner picking up the winner against the Profs, knocking out the 1 seed last night. These two teams, each 1 goal away from victory and a 2026 ACCHL M2 Premier title. We'll see who the skaters on each side are. I mean, this is what you pay to see, right? Overtime of the finals in the decisive game. It's not quite a game 7. Wasn't a full series, but it's pretty much the same thing. Both these squads have played their absolute hearts out all weekend. They've left it all on the ice today. Whoever wins this game, certainly a deserving champion of the M2 Premier Division. Shots on goal entering OT, 47-25 in favor of the Hokies. But this scoreboard still 2 apiece thanks to James Romps and Cam Horan for the Terps, Gavin Peduzzi and Ewan Andrew for the Hokies. Both teams, well, actually Virginia Tech going with their first line, Maryland going with the kid line, their second line for this opening draw. Officials getting set. Peduzzi against Warner at the face-off dot. Now they switch the time properly to 10 minutes in arena. It was sitting at 20 for a little bit. We're getting ready to go here. Peduzzi and Warner, and we're underway in OT. Sudden victory overtime between the Terps and the Hokies in the ACCHL M2 Premier Championship. Virginia Tech plays this one off the glass. Caleb Craven back there for Maryland. Craven up ahead. Horan, one touch into the offensive zone. Doesn't get too far. Brian Teskey picks it back up for the Terps in neutral. Caleb Craven takes the long-range shot from the circle. He picks up his own rebound. Craven trying to feed it in front. Nobody home there. Virginia Tech will send it the other way. Back there for the Terps, it's Grant Warner. Warner back skating. He's got a teammate there. It's Craven. Caleb Craven on these near boards, trying to dump it into the offensive zone. J.H. Lagas gets it back into neutral. He'll have to retreat into his defensive end now as the Terps are in the middle of a change. Brian Rice with the puck for Virginia Tech. He'll dump it in from the red line. That one goes right to Pharisee, and he's forced to hold it. Brian Rice, an absolute laser from center ice right there. Jack Pharisee gloving that one out of the air. This will come out to Pharisee's right. Offensive zone draw for the Hokies. Gavin now out there against Patrick Harnan for the Terps. Harnan wins it to Duchesne, who goes back to Wallace. Andrew Wallace around the boards for Amon. Sean Amon finds Duchesne. One touch into neutral. Can't get it past Tal Lanigan. Virginia Tech into the offensive zone. 1-on-3 here is Tulo. Matthew Tulo trying to cut inside. A stick save there for Pharisee. Still loose behind the net. Hokies jamming at it. Loose at the circle in front. Behind Pharisee. Tulo shot. It's blocked by Wallace. Still loose to the crease. Pharisee somehow keeps it out. Virginia Tech still with the puck in tight. A shot there from DeVivo. Pharisee holds it, and we get a whistle. Absolute madness in front of Jack Pharisee right there. Shane O'Bara bailing out the Terps yet again in this playoff run. The number 7 Terps on the back of their freshman netminder, Jack Pharisee, have been excellent in those clutch net front situations. Face-off here is won by Mohan, back for Petter. Up ahead he finds James Romps. Romps trying to play it ahead for Doherty. That one misses his stick. First one back there is Sullivan for the Hokies. Sullivan trying to play it out into neutral, and he will as it skips over Eli Petter. Petter trying to immediately send it right back. First one back there is McLeod for the Hokies. Up ahead, Virginia Tech into the offensive zone with Ewan Andrew. Andrew trying to feed in front for Wachtel. He couldn't get a clean shot off. Doherty clears it back into center. Max Sullivan there for the Hokies. Virginia Tech can't get it cleanly. Rakowskis sends it around the side for Doherty. Colin Doherty trying to push it forward. He will get it into center. Zach Stewart there, though, for the Hokies to dump it right back in. Rakowskis can't get it out cleanly. Hearn loses it to Romps for a moment. Now Hearn's got it back on the circle. Hearn in front. Kazai still loose, and another save on Peduzzi there. At the point, Rice has it for the Hokies on the far circle now. Back up to the point, it's Lagas. J.H. Lagas will rip it. It gets blocked down in front by Doherty. It hit him in the hand. Another shot for the circle goes wide there. That one coming from Cam Kazai. Hearn with another keep in for Virginia Tech. Hearn getting in. Doesn't get all the way to Pharisee as it's blocked down by Eli Petter. Petter will ring it around the side. It's held in again by Lagas at this near boards. Lagas inside Peduzzi, a block shot there for Luke Mohan, and Doherty's able to carry it into neutral. Terps in desperate need of a change. Colin Doherty sends it around the side. Grant Warner, fresh off the bench, goes into the boards here against Lagas. Warner kicks it out. Warner getting inside, going behind the net, leaves for Craven. Back to Warner. Warner in front. He was looking for Schreibman. He couldn't pull a shot there. Teskey with the keep in at the far point. He'll ring it around the side. Craven down to the near circle. Plays it down low to Grant Warner. Warner looking for a pass. He's forced into center. Look out here. Breakaway Kazai. Cam Kazai with the game on his stick. Coming inside, he scores. Virginia Tech claims the ACC Premier title in overtime. Absolute heartbreaker for the Terps. The 7 seed, Cinderella, strikes midnight here at 3:29 p.m. in Winston-Salem. A gut-wrenching end to this miraculous playoff run for the Terps. A mishandled puck by Maryland results in a breakaway for Cam Kazai. He makes no mistakes in overtime. And the Virginia Tech Hokies claim the ACC title 1 year after they lost this championship game to Penn State. Really tough loss here for the Terps. An incredible playoff run, though. And this big strength of schedule will give them a good bid at regionals. They've put themselves in a position with a chance with wins over UNC Wilmington and Rowan, 2 teams who were high in the standings. And this Hokies squad also well up there. They took them to overtime in the championship matchup. Terps, though, ultimately come up short of the ultimate prize. For everybody here at the Maryland Hockey Network on this road trip, Bailey Unchester and Owen Korzak, my name is Andy Parr. Thank you for tuning in all season. It was so fun to be a part of this playoff run. Heartbreaking end for the Terps. Amazing effort from Maryland, though. And we'll see you next season.